From Alumni Field in Keene, New Hampshire, this is the NECBL on ESPN+. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's broadcast as we get set for baseball between the Danbury Westerners and the host Keene SwampBats. My name is Jonah White. I'm joined tonight by my partner Kyle DeSantis. Our executive producer is PJ Moynihan with Digitalized Film. Our graphics producer is Ryan Hearn, and our directing producer is Stephen Pierce. We get set for an interdivisional contest between the Westerners, who come in with a record of 17 wins and 18 losses, and the SwampBats, who come in with a record of 12 wins and 22 losses. The SwampBats have lost 4 games in a row. Just a few moments away from the first pitch, a national anthem coming up right about now. We'll step aside for it and rejoin you on the other side with the first pitch next and the starting lineups between the Westerners and the SwampBats. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. Welcome back. Jonah White, Kyle DeSantis with you at Alumni Field in Keene, New Hampshire. As we get set for baseball between the Westerners, who are 17 and 18, currently holding on to the last playoff spot in the NECBL, and the SwampBats at 12 to 22, 4.5 games out of that final playoff spot with 10 games to go. Big game today for both teams. Kyle?
Yeah, a big game for both teams. Again, Danbury, a few games ago, just got into that wild card spot. They were outside looking in now. Again, trying to stay alive here after a loss against another team in the wild card spot in the Mystic Schooners. But today, again, the final game as well in the season series between these two teams in the West and North divisions, both trying to work their way into the play.
These two teams split a doubleheader in Danbury last Thursday. SwampBats winning the opener 4-3. Westerners winning the second game 7-6. Both teams coming off losses yesterday. The SwampBats lost to the Sanford Mainers 6-2. The Westerners lost to the Mystic Schooners 9-8. They had the go-ahead run at second base, the tying run at third base in the bottom of the ninth, but to the Mystic Schooners. Here's the lineup for the Danbury Westerners. They're third in the West Division at 7-18 under manager Connor Farrell.
Yeah, and looking at that Westerners lineup now, leading off, his first time leading off this summer, the center fielder Billy Gerlot. With the shortstop Matt Ruiz bats second, in the left fielder Harrison Feinberg is third. Cleaning up the DH and Will Cook for the catcher Daniel Labrador, and the first baseman Anthony Steele batting fifth and sixth. 7, 8, and 9 for the Danbury Westerners are third baseman Hayden Miller, second baseman Bam Talavera, and the right fielder, first time out there, Jacoby Davis.
That for the starting pitcher, Carson Ballard, a sophomore right-handed pitcher from Georgia Tech. No record, an ERA of 5.90. Ballard going to make his first start of the season here for the Westerners. For the SwampBats, they're fourth in the North Division, 12 to 22 under Sean McKenna. Braden Horton, the first baseman, will lead things off. Ryan Padilla is the second baseman, hitting second. Devin Taylor in right field will bat third. The cleanup man is left fielder Blake Delavalier. Kieran Rice at DH will hit fifth. Jackson Owen behind the dish, hitting sixth. Tony Livermore is a shortstop, batting seventh. Jordan Smith hits center field, will hit eighth. And Christian Mercedes is the third baseman, batting number 9. For the starting pitcher, right-hander junior out of Stonehill, Pete Haas, 0-1 with an ERA of 2.70. Making his third start today for the SwampBats. Kyle, they got a key to the game today for the Westerners.
Well, for the Westerners, at least last night, although they only had 3 runners left on base, it was those 3 left stranded to end the game in the bottom of the ninth. And I feel like for Danbury, again, this is a park very similar to theirs at the Roadhouse as well. They like to lift the balls, especially in those smaller areas, and get it over the fence. I feel like that might be something that they'll try to do tonight.
SwampBats' key to the game is going to be to work some walks. Keene has the second fewest walks in the NECBL. They haven't been getting on base a ton. They're last in the league in on-base percentage. SwampBats trying to work some counts against the Westerners pitchers. Ready to go for action here with a 6:36 first pitch. Pete Haas to Billy Gerlot. Strike one. Home plate umpire is Alan Libardoni. The first base umpire, the crew chief, is Robert Strzebeck. And the third base umpire is James Segala. Gerlot out of Penn State, the center fielder, swings and misses. It's 0-2. Billy Gerlot batting .220 with an on-base percentage of .330. 4 home runs and 16 RBIs for Billy Gerlot. Third pitch of the game from Pete Haas, down and away. A breaking ball at 81 miles an hour. Haas, fastball, slider, changeup, traditional arsenal. He's recovering from an injury. He's only thrown 3 in the 3rd inning so far this summer, allowing 2 hits and 1 earned run. Walked 4, struck out 4. He is 0-1 with an ERA of 2.70. He's been in an opener role now a few times this season. That's likely to be the case again today. Not anticipating a very long start out of Haas, but he's been good so far this season. That ERA at 2.70, just 1 earned run in 3 in the 3rd innings on the summer. Slider is high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bats have Jackson Owen behind the dish. Braden Horton at first base. Brian Padilla at second base. More at shortstop, and Christian Mercedes at 3rd base. 2-2 foul back, a fastball at 90 miles an hour there for Pete Haas. Blake Delamelier is the SwampBats left fielder. Jordan Smith is in center, and Devin Taylor is in right. It's Pink in the Park night in honor of breast cancer awareness, so the SwampBats have pink caps and pink socks today. Plunks Gerlot on the rear end. And he will head up to first base. They're getting plunked with 2 strikes. So leadoff man on for Danbury.
Gerlot taking his time now, a little hunched over that pitch, 81 miles an hour, taking that to rear end. Not especially the best way that you want to start off a ball game. Also, the first pitch now after the first batter, if you were wondering, was at 6:36 p.m. here from Alumni Field. Connor Farrell and Bobby Rodriguez, Westerners manager and hitting coach, both out there for Gerlot, still hunched over. Now the trainer as well on her way.
Kyle, the SwampBats have given up 3 or more runs to the opposition in the 1st inning in 5 of their last 8 games. Not a good start here for Pete Haas, hitting the first man. Hope that Gerlot's okay. He's an important player for a Westerners team that's already a bit short-handed today, missing Bobby Zmarzlak, their home run leader. Javon Hernandez, one of the best hitters in the league, not in the starting lineup today for the Westerners. Gerlot is an all-star final vote candidate with the Danbury Westerners. That all-star final vote is still live for the game on Sunday at Fraser Field. Looks like Gerlot is going to be okay to jog up to first base, which is good to see.
Yeah, and for Gerlot at least, who now stands on first still at the top of the first. Jason Claiborne, I should say, made his way out just in case they had to go to a different runner, but B. Gerlot staying in this game in a very important part of this Danbury lineup. Worked his way with the home run ball, especially the last few games, but Matt Ruiz in his 2nd game with the Westerners steps in now.
Westerners are a power-defined offense. They are first in the league in slugging percentage, team slugging percentage of .412. They also lead the league with 40 home runs this season as Matt Ruiz, the Georgia State shortstop, takes strike 1. Over to first. It's into the dirt there by Braden Horton. Westerners 6th in batting average, 8th at OBP, but the league leaders in slugging, OPS, doubles, and home runs. They don't run a lot, though. 11th in the league with 35 steals this season. As Ruiz fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Ruiz had a solid debut yesterday for the Westerners, 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored RBI. But he was the unfortunate man to ground out to end the game with the bases loaded in a 9-8 loss for Danbury against Mystic. The 0-2. Swings and able to waste the breaking ball. And it counts still 0-2. That pitch is 79 miles an hour from the Stonehill righty Pete Haas. SwampBats have struggled this season as a pitching staff and on defense. .570 the team ERA, which is highest in the league. Tied for the lowest fielding percentage of the league at .953. fastball misses outside. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Danbury third in the league in runs scored. Scored 181 runs this season. They've allowed 187, so run differential of -6 through a game below 500. Wicked ball in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And even it was the Westerners now currently a game below 500. They just got back to 500 for the first time since about the first week of the season. It was a win over at Fraser Field against North Shore Navigators before the loss to Mystic brought them back below.
2-2 popped up behind the plate. Owen loses his catcher's mask, and he will run out of room. It's still 2 balls, 2 strikes on Ruiz, the second batter of the game. Listeners are making the SwampBats work. Keene has a depleted pitching staff. They've suffered a number of injuries, and pitchers getting shut down. So for the Westerners, it'll be an asset to their chances of winning this game to try and take long at bats against the SwampBats all game long. Done that so far. The 2-2 here. Caught out and missed. Got him with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. The 5th strikeout of the summer for Pete Haas. There's 1 man away.
It was the high cheese that ultimately did Ruiz in. Tried to go with the chase. We're talking about pitch count now. Haas already 14. Just only 1 out here. The top of the first as Harrison Feinberg will step in.
And they are going to pinch run here for Gerlot. So Gerlot tried to give it a go, but after the strikeout for Ruiz, he's going to be taken out of the game. And in comes Jason Claiborne.
Claiborne from Eastern Connecticut State, a team that won the D3 National Championship back in 2022. He's a very speedy man who could patrol center with ease.
Harrison Feinberg takes a strike. The left fielder from Northeastern, batting .216 with a .375 on-base percentage, 3 homers, 10 RBIs on the season for Feinberg. Claiborne is the runner at first now. He should take over in center field, we would assume, for Billy Gerlot.
Again, for Claiborne. Has worked 10 of the 17 games played in center field, so that seems like the logical option.
Runner goes, pitch in the dirt, the throw, not in time. High throw by Owen, tough pitch to throw on anyway with a breaking ball. So Claiborne, as a pinch runner, picks up the stolen base. He's in scoring position with 1 out for Feinberg.
Comes to Claiborne, that is his 4th stolen base now on the summer. Actually came on home to score after an error, although he was ruled as a stealer of home yesterday.
90 miles an hour with a fastball misses high. The count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Feinberg. Ryan Padilla, the second baseman, is holding on Claiborne, who's got good speed. The 2-2, 89 miles an hour out of the strike zone. And the count is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Now, this is a really big game for both teams. Danbury spent most of the season on the outside looking in the playoff hunt. They've got hot recently. And as of now, entering today, as the pitch misses high for ball 4, Danbury are the 8th seed in the NECBL, 1/2 game ahead of the North Shore Navigators, who are currently the first team out of the playoff race, with about a quarter of the season to go.
Yeah, and especially with this recent stretch for the Westerners, again, all teams trying to either work their way in or already a wild card race. It's in North Shore, that was on Monday, Mystic yesterday, and tonight it's Keene.
The SwampBats are running out of time, but they haven't run out of time. There's still a chance for the SwampBats if they can get hot down the stretch to make the playoffs, but a win today really crucial in that, because the Westerners are the team the SwampBats are chasing. Keene on a 4-game losing streak. Their last win was against the Westerners, game 1 of the doubleheader last Thursday. Tough loss for the SwampBats in game 2. They blew a lead late. And they have suffered 3 tough losses since then. So this is a big game and a big first inning now for Pete Haas and the SwampBats to try and get out of. Cleanup hitter coming up now, William Cook, the DH from Louisville. batting .218 with a .290 on-base percentage, 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Claiborne at second, and Feinberg at first with 1 out. So now Gerlot missing, along with Zmarzlak. Javon Hernandez and Luke Boynton are also not in the lineup for the Westerners, Kyle. This is a much changed Danbury lineup than what we saw the doubleheader last week.
Yeah, a much changed lineup, at least for the Westerners. Talk with the manager for Danbury and Connor Farrell. He said that for Javon, today's more of an off day to get him for that home stretch, especially when it's all against West Division teams.
And Hernandez is one of the Danbury All-Star Game representatives.
Yes, 1 of 6.
2-0. In for a strike. Hold it on the pitch, I believe. And it's 2 balls at a strike on the Louisville Cardinal. This crowd tonight here for Pick in the Park at Alumni Field. There's a swing and a miss at 88 miles an hour from Haas. The count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Shortstop Livermore is now holding on. The runner at second, Claiborne, with a lefty up. Big hole through that left side of the infield. 2-2. Take it upstairs and outside. Fastball missing at 89 miles an hour. There's a big pitch coming up at the top of the first. First and second, 1 out, and a 3-2 count on the cleanup hitter Cook. A 6'5" lefty takes outside ball 4. The throw down to third won't matter. It's a walk for Cook, and the base is loaded for the Westerners.
Yeah, the hitters, especially at the plate for Danbury, being very selective with their pitches. Now the base is loaded. Again, it was Feinberg with a walk, Gerlot with a hit by pitch, and now Cook as well, jumping into that group with a walk for his first time, or rather his first time to the plate.
So with the bases loaded, it's the Stetson catcher Daniel Labrador, batting .260 with a .367 on-base percentage, 2 homers, and 5 runs batted in. He takes strike 1 at 87 miles an hour from Pete Haas. First baseman Braden Horton is in on the grass. The third baseman Christian Mercedes is on the edge of the grass. Padilla and Livermore back for the double play up the middle. Nice block by Owen. Runner coming to the plate. The flip to Haas. The tag safe at home. And the other runners will move up as well on the wild pitch. The Westerners take a 1-0 lead. That was a close play, or at least had the makings of a close play at the plate for a moment there, Kyle.
That's the second time, especially in the last 2 games, where Jason Claiborne, where a ball gets away from his catcher, the opposing catcher, and might go in the infield. He will be aggressive, and he will try for home. He does it now, and he's 2 for 2 in his last 2 nights.
So second and third now. SwampBats keep the corners in the middle back, but no double play possibility now. As this one is lined into left field, down the line, it's a fair ball. In to score Feinberg. In to score Cook. Hanging on at first base with a 2-run single is Daniel Labrador. And it's a 3-0 lead for the Westerners. The 6th time in the SwampBats' last 9 games they have given up 3 runs or more in the first inning. That's going to be all for the starter Pete Haas.
For the Westerners now, across their last 2 games, including tonight, they put up 5 runs in the first inning. There was 2 yesterday on a Bobby Zmarzlak 2-run home run. Today it's on runs scored on a wild pitch from Claiborne and a 2-run single to left from Labrador.
3-0 Westerners will take a break. Danbury having taken the lead. This is the NECBL on ESPN+.
Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the place. I'm talking one chance at best. Yes, hitting pitches for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Take the cover, work the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is a teacher under pressure, now we blessed. Yeah. It's one art, one shot, not a picture for sure. Let's go.
First thing, first of all, was quality, the consistency, knowing that when I take them out, they're going to be the same every time. And the second was to be able to see kids all over the country wearing the gloves that I designed. It's one of the coolest parts of it.
Ignite your athletes. Empower your coaches. Rally your community. Support every team with one solution with the Huddle Athletic Department package. You put all your school's coaching tools under one roof. From recording to analyzing to sharing, with your Huddle AD package, you cover every angle. Equal access means equal opportunity, and equal opportunity means full potential. Let's take your department to the next level.
Joe Mazza is the new pitcher for the SwampBats from Rutgers, lefty from Manalapan, New Jersey. He's made one appearance this summer. He's been injured for a lot of it, but he came back the other day and pitched 1 inning, allowing 2 hits and 3 runs. This is his second appearance of the season. Mazza to Anthony Steele, a two-way player, tipped into the mitt of Jackson Owen. Steele batting 179 with a .324 on-base percentage, 2 homers, 5 RBIs from Penn State. That's not the impressive part about Anthony Steele, Kyle.
I mean, Steele at the plate as the next pitch misses down low. He's been phenomenal in both aspects. Again, he's basically the team's closer, leading the Westerners in saves with 4, and he's also going to be representing the team in the home run derby this weekend.
Closer in the home run derby. How about that?
Get that too often.
No, you don't. That's pretty cool stuff from Anthony Steele, a two-way player from Penn State. Trying to add on to an already productive first inning for the Danbury Westerners. They lead 3-0. The runs charged to Haas, the starter who's still responsible for Labrador at first base. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Mazza dialed it up to 93 miles an hour there for the left side. To strike out Anthony Steele, 2 men away. The batter will be Hayden Miller from the College of Charleston. .222 with a .357 OBP, 1 home run, and 5 RBIs for Miller with 2 outs. Labrador at first in a 3-0 lead. Miller fouls one back at 92 from Joe Mazza. Throws a fastball, slider, and a changeup. Pretty hard throw from the left side. Sits in the low 90s. Coming in for early relief here. Miller fouls off the 0-2 pitch. He's the 7th man to hit in this first inning for the Westerners. Started with a hit by pitch. And a strikeout was the only out that Pete Haas recorded. 2 walks, 2-run single. After a wild pitch, it already plated 1 run. The 0-2 fouled over to the right, now to play. Still 0-2.
And also the final line for the opener for Keene, Peter Haas. The 3rd of an inning pitch, 1 hit, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout.
He's still responsible for Labrador at first base. The 0-2 in the dirt, blocked by Jackson Owen. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Third time where Westerners behind in the count, 2nd straight batter. See what Miller can do.
Mazza's pitch on the ground to third base. Christian Mercedes throws him out, and that retires the side. The first inning for the Westerners, 3 runs on 1 hit. No errors, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the first, Danbury with a 3-0 lead. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. Bottom of the first inning on a beautiful night in Keene, New Hampshire. And Kyle, it's been a summer of rain all across the NECBL. It's 81 degrees, mostly sunny. Beautiful night for baseball here. The Westerners' only trip to Keene of the summer. This interdivisional matchup. Braden Horton, Brian Padilla, Devin Taylor for the SwampBats at the bottom of the first against Carson Ballard.
And talking about Carson Ballard, incoming sophomore with Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets, a Georgia native as well, from native city, or rather his original city of Alpharetta. 8 games, though this is his first start in his 9th appearance. 5.9 ERA, 11 strikeouts through 10 2/3 innings pitched.
The Liberty left-hand hitter takes a strike, nothing at 1. Braden at first base, batting .256 with a .392 on-base percentage, 3 homers at 7 RBIs for one of 4 SwampBats All-Stars this season. Horton, along with Devin Taylor, Greg Bazzo, and Tony Livermore, honored the All-Star Game nod for the SwampBats. Horton hit a home run against Danbury last week. A 1-2 outside at 91 miles an hour from Ballard, and it's 2-2.
Also, at least after Gerlant was replaced by Jason Claiborne, Claiborne is in right field, Davis at center.
This one driven toward right near the foul pole. Back goes Davis. It's gone! Braden Horton with his 4th home run of the season gets the Bats on the board. A Liberty Flame makes it 3-1 with a homer down the right field line. It goes 365 feet. It's the Westerners 3 and the SwampBats 1.
Ballard tried to go up high middle with the fastball. It was cut on and lifted by Horton down the line and right. 3rd home run Ballard has given up this summer.
So here is Brian Padilla, a second baseman from UConn. Brian batting .181 with a .330 on-base percentage. No homers, 3 RBIs this season for the speedy middle infielder. He's quickly behind in the count, 0-2 on Ballard. Ballard, as you mentioned, 8 appearances of 5.9 ERA. Whip of 1.41. The 0-2 up and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's got no record. He was very effective, though, last week against the SwampBats, pitching in both games of that doubleheader in Danbury. He's down and away, 2-2. He faced just 1 batter, got a double play in the first game of the doubleheader, and pitched 2 2/3 scoreless innings in the second game, helping the Westerners to a big 7-6 victory.
Yeah, and at least for this season's series, I believe he will be the only pitcher, at least that will pitch in all 3 games again, though he only did face 1 batter in the first of that doubleheader.
Padilla swings and misses at a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. First out recorded by Ballard. And the batter will be Devin Taylor. Taylor, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. All Big Ten first team. He batted .315 to the spring with the Hoosiers. He's an all-star this summer with the SwampBats, batting .300 with a .354 on-base percentage, 6 homers, and 17 RBIs, which leads the team. Taylor takes low at 85 miles an hour. The count is 1 ball and no strikes. Kyle, take us through the Danbury defense. There's a slow roller to second base. Bam Talavera, the second baseman for Danbury, throws out Taylor for out number 2.
Now we give you the Danbury defensive arrangement from left to right in the outfield. Harrison Feinberg, Jacoby Davis, and Jason Claiborne. Around the infield counterclockwise from 3rd to 1st, Hayden Miller, Matt Ruiz, Bam Talavera, and Anthony Steele. The catcher behind the plate, Daniel Labrador. He's the battery mate for Carson Ballard on the mound.
So here's the slugger from Jacksonville University, Blake DeLamelier. 170, 282 on base percentage, 6 home runs at 11 RBIs this summer for Blake. And he takes a breaking ball on the outside corner for strike one. Kyle, I love the high pink socks that Blake and some of the other SwampBats are sporting in this game.
The next pitch is swung on and missed. I feel like the pink as well with the purple, also the pink hats SwampBats are wearing. It's a very good combo.
Pink in the park in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness tonight for the SwampBats. 0-2 down low, 92 miles an hour. Pretty hard thrower, Carson Ballard. Ready out of Georgia Tech. It's a 1-2 to Delamelier. Blake fights off the slider. Make it a ball and 2 strikes.
Again for Ballard, the fastball at 92, can top out at 93. He throws 2 fastballs, a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. Last saw the slider, as well with a Vulcan changeup.
1-2 on the outside corner. Fastball at 92. Second strikeout for Ballard, and the SwampBats are done in the first. 1 run on 1 hit, the leadoff home run by Braden Horton, and nothing else. We go to the second inning, 3-1 Danbury. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. Bam Talavera, Jacoby Davis, and Jason Claiborne for the Westerners. In the second inning, they've got a 3-1 lead. Hit by pitch, couple of walks, a wild pitch, and a 2-run single for Danbury in the top of the first. Braden Horton got the SwampBats a run back with a leadoff homer in the bottom half, as Bam Talavera takes outside corner there, strike, and it's 0-1. Talavera, the second baseman from Southern Connecticut State, batting .200 with a .273 on base percentage. No homers, 3 RBIs, a relatively recent addition to this Westerners roster. Joe Maz's 1-1 outside at 85, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
Again, talking about Talavera, at least started this summer in the Perfect Game League with the Albany Dutchman before coming here to the Westerners.
That's down it in, 3 balls and a strike. Don't want to walk the leadoff man. Bats gave up a leadoff hit by a pitch in the first, and it came around to score. 3-1 swinging. Foul ball, it is 3-2. That might have been ball 4 if Talavera had left it alone. Play made there by the third base coach, Bobby Rodriguez. Mike Hughes is coaching first for the manager, Connor Farrell. Up and away, missed with a 3-2 pitch. Leadoff walk for Talavera in the second.
Now at least 4 SwampBats pitching staff already 2 into the game after Haas was taken in on the leash after a third of an inning. That is 3 walks. 3 walks against 8 batters faced.
SwampBats walked 8 batters in a 6-2 loss yesterday. That pitch is loaded. Jacoby Davis, right fielder from Cornell, .262 with a .324 on base. No homers, 5 RBIs for Davis. 1-1. Talavera's 1 for 1 trying to steal this season. SwampBats gave up 5 walks the other day in a 10-0 loss to the Mainers, but the day before that, last Friday, Kyle, SwampBats allowed 13 walks. 13 walks in one game. They lost 10-2 to the Mountaineers. That's been a recurring issue for the Bats pitchers. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A count on Davis, a 9-hitter for Danbury.
And Davis has been in the outfield again all summer for the Westerners. Originally was in right, though. Switched to center after Gerlot was taken down.
This one fly toward left. Delamelier in front of the track. Drifts and makes a catch. And retreating back to first is Talavera. So 1-on-1 out back to the top of the order in Claiborne, the replacement for Gerlot. Claiborne pinch runner, then going to right field. Davis goes from right field to center field. Talavera is still at first. Claiborne scored in the first inning as a pitch runner. He stole second and scored from third on an aggressive base running play on a wild pitch. There was a play at the plate, but it was just too late. Runner goes, throw to first, Horton to second, and they didn't get him at second base. Livermore's tag was too late, according to the third base umpire, James Segala. It's a stolen base for Talavera, despite the fact that Mazza had him picked off, throwing over to first.
Yeah, at least for the Westerners, a few times this summer they have been picked off, but that time was Talavera able to slide in safely at second, now in scoring position.
Shot off to the left by Claiborne. The count 1-1 strike. Jason Claiborne batting .137 with a .228 on base. No homers, 4 RBIs on the season. A 1-1. Bounced foul up the third baseline, and it's 1-2 strikes.
One of those foul balls where, regardless of where it lands, everyone anticipating. Again, you have a runner at second, Talavera. You have the left side, defensive alignment in Mercedes and Livermore.
On 1-2, Claiborne swings and misses at a breaking ball. Good slider there from Joe Mazza at 85 miles an hour. He gets his second strikeout. The batter will be Matt Ruiz with 2 outs, and a man still in scoring position. Ruiz struck out his first time up. Now, taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, there are already 2 finals today across the 13-team NECBL, one of the premier collegiate summer leagues in the country. This one is fouled away. The Mystic Schooners lost to the North Shore Navigators 3-2. That was a day game at Fraser Field in Lynn, Massachusetts, the home of the Navigators. The Newport Gulls beat the Upper Valley Nighthawks 10-1 at Cardines Field in Newport. Game 1 of a doubleheader there, a 7-inning game. And it's strike 2 here to Ruiz. Bottom of the second in Vermont, the Vermont Mountaineers lead the North Adams Steeplecats 1-0. Top of the 5th in Bristol, Connecticut, the Blues 1, the Ocean State Waves 1. 0-2, low, 1-2. The Martha's Vineyard Sharks, the defending NECBL champions, trying to make up ground in the playoff race late this season. They're tied at 0 in the top of the 3rd in Maine against the Sanford Mainers. Game 2 of the doubleheader between Upper Valley and Newport. 1-0 Upper Valley Nighthawks in the bottom of the 1st at the Gulls. Busy Wednesday in the New England Collegiate Baseball League. So we are approaching the home stretch of the regular season. Playoff race is taking shape. 2-2 to Matt Ruiz. And it's 3-2.
Times now where Mazza looking away with the slider. He's been drifting out there. Full count on the way.
Payoff pitch. On the ground. Livermore has it. The Northwestern shortstop throws out Ruiz to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. Middle of the second, it's 3-1 Danbury. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. Jared Rice takes a fastball in the dirt at 91 miles an hour from Carson Ballard. He's got a 3-1 lead as we start the bottom of the 2nd inning at Alumni Field. Jared Rice, a DH from Missouri Southern State, also played with the SwampBats last year. At a .229 this year with a .323 on-base percentage, 4 homers at 16 RBIs. He bounces this to third. Miller's throw is on time for out number 1, and the batter will be Jackson Owen.
It's a great adjustment by Anthony Steele over at first. The throw to his left as Miller almost pulled the ball in his sense from the hot corner at third and still was able to keep his foot on the bag to record that first out.
Here's Jackson Owen, the catcher from Northeast Mississippi Community College. He's committed to play at Mississippi State, the 2021 NCAA champion, next year. Jackson batting .175 with a .309 on-base percentage, 2 homers and 7 RBIs on the summer. Swings and misses at a 76-mile-an-hour breaking ball there from Ballard, and the count 0-2. The home run by Braden Horton, the first batter that Ballard faced, came on a high fastball as Owen sends this one towards center field. And with a big speed, Jacoby Davis makes a catch for out number 2.
I mean, that speed there, the burst coming from Davis is, quite frankly, why he has played all 19 games this summer. The Westerners in center. He's able to work his way into the gaps as well and made that look easy.
He really did. Well, it was hit well off the bat of Owen. So here's Livermore with 2 outs. Tony, an all-star from Northwestern. .254, .338 the on-base percentage. No homers and 7 RBIs for the left-hand batting infielder. That pitch is into the knees for a strike, and it's 1-1 on Livermore, who is batting .333 in his last 15 games. He drops down a bunt here, backhanded by Ballard, and he throws out Livermore. A 1-2-3 inning for Carson Ballard, who's retired 6 in a row since the leadoff home run. We go to the third. Danbury still up by 2. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. But his SwampBats pitcher is Cole Stallings as we get set for the third inning of action here in New Hampshire. Stallings, 6'2", 215, from Lithia, Florida, senior at Stetson University, played with the SwampBats and had lots of success here in 2021. He played in the Cape Cod League last summer. And Stallings is the reigning NECBL Pitcher of the Week. He threw 5 1/3 scoreless innings last week against the Sanford Mainers, picking up a win, allowing 1 hit, no walks, and getting 12 strikeouts. It was a brilliant outing from Stallings, and the SwampBats keep him in a similar long relief role today against the Westerners. Cole's 1-3 with a 6.13 ERA this season, but he was so good in his last game. It's really the best outing that I've seen, Kyle, this season. Any pitcher, SwampBats or otherwise. When he's on, he's got a very good fastball that he paints the corners with, and a good slider to go with it. Harrison Feinberg walked and scored in the first, and he takes a fastball inside at 89 miles an hour from Stallings. Feinberg, the 3-hitter, takes high.
Also, when it comes to Stallings now with this game, he has faced a team from all 3 NECBL divisions. Again, the North, Coastal, now the West, with the Westerners here at Alumni Field.
2-0 is low, 3 balls and no strikes. And when Cole struggles, is often the type of struggles he has, strike zone troubles. 13 walks at 22 innings to go with 28 strikeouts. See if he can come back here on 3-0 to Feinberg. Fastball on the outside corner at 90 miles an hour, and it's 3-1. Stallings, the third SwampBats pitcher of the game, takes over for Joe Mazza. Ball 4. Mazza went an inning and 2/3. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And now in the first 3 innings, the Westerners have had the leadoff man aboard in all 3 on a hit by pitch, a walk, and another walk. Not a recipe for keeping teams off the scoreboard. Here's William Cook, the DH from Louisville. He walked and scored in the first inning. Takes a fastball outside at 88, and it's 1-0.
Cook worked a walk his last time up in the first. Second of back-to-back walks between him and Feinberg.
That bounces. A dirt ball read by Feinberg, and a good one. He'll head to second base. Westerners have been running the bases very well. Already 2 stolen bases and 2 wild pitch advancements in the game for Danbury.
Again, for a team in the Westerners where they're not necessarily atop the NECBL in that department of stolen bases, been very aggressive tonight out there.
2-0 the pitch. Caught on a miss, and it's 2-1, and that's something that's been an issue for the SwampBats really all season long, has been keeping runners put on the bases. SwampBats have only thrown out 9 runners this season. They've allowed 68 successful steals. 2-2 now, the count on William Cook, the cleanup hitter for Danbury. The SwampBats lose this game, they'll be 5.5 games out of the final playoff spot with 9 games to go. Would not be a great situation for making the playoffs. As a pitch misses low and it's 3-2, but if the SwampBats win this game, they'd only be 3.5 out. So it's just a massive game any way you slice it for the Keene SwampBats. Against the team they need to catch. Danbury, the last team in the playoff picture right now. Swing at a miss, strike 3. Tied him up with a fastball on the inside corner at 89. The first strikeout for Stallings, his 29th strikeout of the season. And it brings up the catcher, Daniel Labrador, who had a 2-run single in the first inning to chase the starter, Pete Haas, from the ballgame.
Already 4 times that Danbury batters have struck out. Not even through 3 full innings here.
Danbury score a lot of runs, but they do it via extra base hits mostly. They're just 6th in batting average, hitting .242 as a team and 8th in OBP. Labrador takes a strike. Fastball from Stallings, 0-1.
Prove your point about the extra base hits for Danbury. NECBL leaders in home runs with 40, doubles as well with 56. That's how they get them home.
Way out in front of the slider. 0-2, the count on Labrador. This is teammate versus teammate here. Battery mate versus battery mate. Stetson against Stetson. 0-2. Caught on it, missed strike 3. The tag applied by Jackson Owen. Stallings with a wry smile. I'm sure he'll tell Daniel Labrador all about that one next year.
Labrador walking back in. He's got a little smile about it as well, but obviously he's on the losing end of round number 1. Anthony Stoon, who also was on that losing end with a swinging strikeout his first time up, steps in from the lefty side. Steele,
the all-star closer and home run derby contestant for the Westerners, pops up the first pitch, foul to the left and out of play. There's a lot of foul territory here at Alumni Field. Feels like sometimes there's as much foul territory as fair territory with the very small dimensions. 354 down right field line, 325 down left, but at center it's where it gets really small. 352 to the gap in left center field, and it's even shorter to straightaway center. One pops up. Back it out of play. There's 0-2.
Steele really wanted that one. As soon as he saw it was out of play, a little rapid movement. Maybe some words to himself now as he steps back in behind 0-2.
These are 2 of the oldest franchises in the NECBL. SwampBats founded in 1997, the Westerners in 1995. The 0-2. Driven toward right, but foul. Steele got a hold of that one, but it's still 0-2.
And I wonder, at least for these last few games, at least for the Westerners, including tonight, 3 more before the All-Star game on July 23rd, if Steele's really trying to amp up for the home run derby. Not exactly the best hitting approach in game, but I'm sure that might be in the back of his head.
It's always a conversation come the home run derby. Does it ruin your swing? Strike 3 called. He froze him with a slider, not what Steele was expecting. And after the leadoff walk, Cole Stallings strikes out the next 3. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. Still 3-1 Danbury. This is the NECBL on ESPN+.
Watch me do my thing. I said, watch me do my shake, shake. Woo! Watch me do my thing. I said, watch me do my shake, shake.
At Keene State College, life is an adventure. You'll forge your path forward. As an owl, you'll take on challenges in the classroom, field, court, or track. Every worthwhile adventure has its share of blood, sweat, and tears. It takes hard work and dedication. No owl flies alone on their journey at Keene State. Teammates, coaches, professors, alumni, and fellow owls are with you along the way. They lift you up as you continue forward. When you're part of Owl Nation, you become the person you truly want to be.
Your next Ford is waiting at Monadnock Ford. Right now, get a great offer like this on your next new Ford. See these offers and more at monadnockford.com. Monadnock Ford, home of the low price tire guarantee, and your local Ford and used car retailer. Voted Keene's best.
Jordan Smith leads off the home third with his team trailing by 2. Smith added George Mason, a speedy center fielder, batting .198 with a .293 on-base percentage, a homer and 3 RBIs. And Smith has probably had the hardest luck of anybody on the SwampBats offensively. He's hit a ton of line drives that have turned into outs. And Kyle, he's actually been robbed of a home run this season, not once but twice. The 0-2 from Carson Ballard. Fouled away, and it's still 0-2. And Kyle, it'll be interesting to see how long Carson Ballard goes at his first start of the season.
Yeah, Ballard already nearing his season high, 2 2/3 innings.
0-2, breaking ball fouled. Count still 0-2. Ballard threw 27 pitches through the first 2 innings. Very efficient.
Efficient pitching from Ballard, who went 2 2/3 his last time on the 13th of July against this team.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. He got Smith to chase a breaking ball and has retired 7 in a row since the leadoff home run by Braden Horton. That's his 3rd strikeout, and it brings up Christian Mercedes from Southern New Hampshire University. In his season debut yesterday, going 0 for 1 with a run and a walk, but he was a 2022 NECBL All-Star with the Winnipesaukee Muskrats, who no longer exist in the league. Takes down and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Mercedes had a great year, though, last year with Winnipesaukee, so SwampBats will have hope that he could be a difference maker down the stretch here as the SwampBats try and make up ground in the playoff hunt. Mercedes hit .293 with a .453 OBP, a .488 on base slugging percentage, 5 homers, 12 RBIs. He stole 23 bases in 28 games with the Muskrats last summer. 3-1 ahead in the count here. Mercedes grounded into a double play and walked and scored in his 2 plate appearances yesterday. 3-1, high ball 4. First base runner since the leadoff home run. And it'll be the man with that home run, Braden Horton, stepping to the plate.
Again, a few of those pitches by Ballard were not necessarily bad pitches. They were borderline, again, working around the corners. Not so much pounding the zone as he is painting around, but runner now on first here for Keene.
So here's Horton. Hit one 365 feet his first time up. And he grounds this one towards second base. Bobbled by Talavera, throws to first, safe. At first is Braden Horton. At E4, and for the first time this game, the SwampBats have multiple runners on base, and it's Brian Padilla coming to bat.
Tough one there by Talavera. The ball bounced to his left. He thought it bounced over him. That's why he looked up to the sky, but there's enough time for Horton to work his way over to first and second now for Padilla.
Ryan struck out his first time. Makes a breaking ball high. 1 ball and no strikes. Ryan Padilla, the 2-hitter out of UConn. Guy for the SwampBats who takes patient at bats, good at bats, and walks a lot. There's a strike. Ryan Padilla has walked 12 times this season, which is tied for 3rd most on the SwampBats. Mercedes at second, he walked. Horton at first after the error. Strike 2 to Brian Padilla. Devin Taylor, the dangerous left-hand hitter, waits on deck. 1-2 to Brian. Breaking ball, loop towards center. That is going to dunk down for a base hit. They will throw to second. It's too late to get Horton. A bloop single for Brian Padilla. And the SwampBats have the bases loaded with 1 out for Devin Taylor.
Since that walk to Mercedes, the next 2 batters have been an E4 and the bloop single. Not exactly the biggest of difference makers, but if you string those together, they can make an impact.
And a guy who can do some damage coming up, Taylor. Grounded out his first time. He's first pitch swinging, grounds it to the right side. Talavera's got it, only plays to first. He makes it, but the SwampBats get a run as Mercedes scores. 18th RBI to lead the team for Devin Taylor. SwampBats get a run back, gets 3-2, and the batter will be Blake Delamolier. Mercedes scoring from third there. Horton advancing to third. Padilla advancing to second. So now 2 outs, second and third for Delamolier, who struck out his first time. The first pitch to Blake. Breaking ball, lifted toward the gap in right center. It's down for a hit. Rounding third is Brian Padilla. The throw to the plate, cut off. 2-run single. Blake Delamolier, and the SwampBats take the lead at the bottom of the third. Horton coming home as well. Blake with his 12th and 13th runs batted in this season. It's a 3-run third for the SwampBats. They jump in front for the first time this game.
You talk about the E4 and single. Now a ground out and 1 to the gap. It's Keene with the lead.
Blake picked a perfect time for his 6th single of the year, his 17th hit. It's an extra base hitter, but he just got one off the end of the bat there, blooped it into center. And hello, 2 RBIs. 1-0 now on Rice with Delamolier aboard at first. And now 1-1. A walk at error, a bloop, a ground out, and another bloop. It's a 3-run rally for the SwampBats. Much needed 3-run rally at that. Rice is going to adjust his shoes there. Blake Delamolier is 3 for 7 trying to steal bases this year. That's not a big part of the SwampBats game. They're tied for last with 28 steals this season. Throw over there for Ballard, and Blake dives back it safely. The Westerners 11th in the league at staff ERA, 4.99. The SwampBats 11th in team batting average at 216. Last at on base, 9th at slugging, and 12th out of the 13 teams in OPS. Runner goes. Pitch is high. Throw to second. And Blake is going to be thrown out stealing for the 5th time this season. That's going to go 2-4 on the caught stealing. At the third for the Bats, though, 3 runs on 2 hits, 1 error. And nobody left. 4-3. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. With executive producer PJ Moynihan of Digital Eyes Film, graphics producer Ryan Hearn, and director Steve Pierce. I'm Shona White, joined by Kyle DeSantis. It's a 4-3 lead for the SwampBats as we go to the fourth. Kyle?
Thank you so much, Jonah, and it will be the Westerners opening up the second third necessarily of this ball game. Now 4-3, and the SwampBats leading over the Westerners after a 3-run bottom of the third. Will be the bottom three of the Westerners lineup. Due up, Hayden Miller, Bam Talavera, and Jacoby Davis. All three looking for their first hit, with Cole Stallings still on the mound. Righty-righty matchup. First pitch. Sailing way up high, and that one heads to the fence for ball one. Not exactly the first pitch that I expected to open up this top of the fourth.
No, he didn't get off to a great start in third, did Stallings. Walked the first batter, but he struck out the next three.
For his first time up at the plate, 0-for-1, grounded out 5-3. Mercedes over to Horton, and now he's ahead 2 balls and no strikes as it was high and tight.
3 runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 men left on base for the Westerners in the first 3 innings. 4 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base for the SwampBats.
Miller at the plate, 2-0. Either way, the check swing will not matter. It's a called strike. Miller out of the College of Charleston, South Carolina. A few games this past spring as the 2-1 pitches popped in the foul territory, first base side. Horton making his way and rather watching it go out of play. Looking at Miller, 6 games, how many he played with the Cougars. Highly ranked prospect out of high school. Top shortstop in the state of Connecticut. 2-2. Up high. 91, a little tight too for a full count. Big opening at bat here in the top of the fourth. 3-2 pitch. Once more upstairs. And for the 4th straight inning, a free pass starts out. The Westerners at the plate.
We've gotten away with it the last 2 times. Zephyr is the official on-field cap of the NECBL, also known as the Z-Hat. Zephyr is the authentic college hat with over 800 colleges. It channels that same energy and creativity into building custom hats of all types for pro sports teams, clothing brands, and companies everywhere. Make sure you pick up your SwampBats or Westerners official on-field cap today.
Now stepping at the plate, a man who also has walked already in this one, Bam Talavera. First pitch shows bunt, and it bounces foul, rather, off of his leg as he hobbles around now. The strike. Talavera still hopping now. Still able to be on his own accord. Walking around, shaking the legs as Miller, who is running on the pitch, has to go back to first. Talavera now still awaiting and talking with third base coach and hitting coach and Bobby Rodriguez. Westerners have already had to make a change in the field tonight after Billy Gerlot was hit by a pitch to open up this game and stayed on first for the following at bat. He was replaced by Jason Claiborne, who's now in right field. Talavera already walk, as mentioned, on the night as a runner on first. Hayden Miller. Stallings comes though. Next pitch misses to even the count. 1 apiece. Talavera going to Southern Connecticut State University after transferring from Hudson Valley Community College. To go to D2, and he fouls the next pitch back. Manager at Hudson Valley Community College has a direct correlation to the Westerners, a former manager in Josh Perro. A few seasons, or rather was the manager for a few seasons in the mid-2010s, final season in 2019. 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3, right there to send down Talavera. Third strikeout for Stallings already. An inning of work. Struck out 3 of the 5 batters he's faced. Those other 2 have reached walks. Now Jacoby Davis steps in. Davis, an Ivy Leaguer with Cornell. Big Red Sea hat as a throw back to first, a pickoff. Almost goes over the head of Horton as Miller slides back in safely. Davis flew out to left field, his first time up at the plate. Near the warning track for Blake Delamalu. First pitch to the lefty. Swing and a miss. Davis, one of the cool cats necessarily, at least for the Westerners. Always calm, collected, can crack some jokes, talk with basically anyone. Had him on the broadcast a few weeks ago. Fouls it back. 0-2. Davis also used in pinch runner situations. That was how he entered last night's game, though he was retired after an attempt at a sacrifice bunt. Came to second, another pickoff attempt. Once more, not in time at first to get Miller. Yeah, a lot of the outfielders for the Westerners can run on the base path. 2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 4 of the last 5 batters that Stallings has faced come retired now, rather make it 5 of 6. Back to Cook in the 3rd. Stallings now up to 5 Ks. That one's swinging. Back up top to Jason Claiborne before not another time, yet another time. That's a pickoff attempt over to first for Hayden Miller. Already very dirtying up the black tops for the Westerners as the first pitch misses to Claiborne. The Westerners today going for their black tops. Haven't statistically performed the best in them. 1 in 9 when wearing tops this summer, especially the black ones. As the 1-0 pitch is low. Now 2 straight balls, still no strikes. Going to Claiborne. It's normally been the black tops that have been the road uniform of choice, though. Danbury switched over to their batting practice tops. Much lighter material, and they've done well when they've worn them. Foul tip back. 2 balls and a strike. But yeah, it's been interesting again for the Westerners, switching to the gray tops compared to the black ones they currently wear. It's how it's worked out, and the team's been superstitious this summer. 2-1. Fouled back once more. Now the deuce is wild. Very superstitious, whether it's some specific coach throws batting practice again and again, and they keep winning. They keep them on the mound, whether it's someone writing the lineup. We've been in that boat a few times. 2-2. Fouled out of play. Third base set. Yeah, it's been interesting, at least. This team's superstitious. Not exactly as much as the prior 2. And it was last year where they just finished out of the wild card race, and in 2021 they won their first ever Fay Vincent Cup. Back to first once more. Miller slides in safely. It's been an interesting trio of summers, at least since 2021, hovering around 500 through that time. Next pitch, runner on the move. Miller goes to second. The throw from Owens, not in time. The tag was not there from Livermore. The second baseman, Padilla, in shock. His glove's still on his head. I think Miller was trying to motion to Padilla that the swipe was not in time. But it's a full count now. Still at the plate, Claiborne. Runner at second. To second from Stallings. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Have a performance. Cole Stallings. Through 3.5, it's 4-3. Danbury trailing Keene. The NECBL on ESPN+. The NECBL is excited to launch a fan survey, and your feedback is needed to help the league continue to build and grow. Visit survey.necbl.com. One lucky winner will receive a $500 Visa gift card, and 10 other fans will win an NECBL League hat. The survey is live now, so don't wait. Visit survey.necbl.com to have your voice heard and enter for your chance to win. Right here on ESPN Plus, now in the bottom of the fourth, there will be a leadoff runner in the form of Garrett Rice after he goes back up the middle with a single.
Hey, good piece of hitting there by Garrett Rice. Jumping on the first pitch, fastball from Carson Ballard. SwampBats with a bit of good fortune. An error, a couple of blue pits, but finally SwampBats did some real damage against him in the third inning to take the lead.
First pitch, high to the catcher and Jackson Owen for ball one. Now 4 hits. 4 hits, I should say, through more than 3, a little bit more, as that one is flown out into right field. Moving on in is Claiborne. Claiborne makes the catch. About 2 strides from the chalk in right field for the first out.
Ballard now up to 50 pitches through 3 1/3 innings. Not a very high total. This is now his longest outing of the summer. But see if he can give the Westerners some more length. They've played the last 2 days, so they're not at 100% at all in the bullpen.
Not exactly, indeed, as the pickoff attempt does not work out. Rice back in safely. The Westerners used 3 pitchers, rather 4 out of the bullpen yesterday, so they're even more depleted after only using 2 against North Shore on Monday. Pitch popped out of play.
Cal, I think bullpen depth is going to be a big thing as we get into the later innings of this game.
Especially with how tight it is so far. 4-3.
Yeah, will somebody be able to step up and give their team 1, 2, or 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen late?
0-1. Called strike. To the outer black and clipped it to make it 0-2. Owen flew out to center field, and Jacoby Davis having to run to right center to make the grab. Back in the second. Pitch. Away with the slider. Now ball and 2 strikes. Ballard officially now, as Jonah mentioned, in his final, or rather farthest start. His first one, as he misses away now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. His longest appearance, I should say. Words jumbled away. He's worked his way through 3 1/3 innings currently as a runner on first. Only an earned run to the 4 on the scoreboard. 2-2. Ground ball left side. It's the shortstop and Ruiz. Underhand toss to second for 1. He goes to first. Twin killing to wrap up here. 6-4-3. No runs on a hit. And a runner left on base. Still 4-3 here at Alumni Field. The NECBL is on ESPN+. Matt Ruiz will come to the plate for his 3rd at bat here as we open this game up in the top of the 5th from Alumni Field, one of the many historic venues with glorious fans across the New England Collegiate Baseball League. First pitch misses high and tight, ball 1. Alumni Field, one of the more cozier atmospheres, especially in the NECBL. That's not just talking about the overall fence distance, as it's fouled back off of the catcher's mask in Owen. Now 1-1. There's a lot of fields with great atmospheres when you get fans here on the night, in this case a Wednesday night. Alumni Field, Keene, talking about the North Division, Montpelier Recreation Field. Home of the Vermont Mountaineers always gets good crowds, gets the atmosphere going. Make any game feel like it's the playoffs. Ruiz still hitless on the day, 0 for 2, stepping in for the 3rd time. Stallings still on the mound. Donning the pink cap. 1-1 breaking ball. Looked like the slider went outside and makes it 1-2. Ruiz a strikeout and a ground out in that order in the first and second inning. Next pitch. Little tapper, this one going the opposite way to Horton, the first baseman. Underhand toss gets past Stallings. Ruiz on his horse, going to second. He gets there standing. One of the newest Westerners is now in scoring position.
The Westerners are lobbying for that to be scored a hit. It is not. It scored an E3, a two-base error on Braden Horton, and I think much of the disappointment of the Westerners has the right scoring decision.
Westerners, if anything, when they're in the dugout, make their voices heard. Just like that.
Fifth time in a row the leadoff man is on for Danbury.
Ground ball left side, picked there by Mercedes, goes across the diamond in time. That's out number 1. And after that E3, that results in a runner in scoring position. 1 pitch and 1 out for Stallings. Mentioned that it is the 5th straight inning for Danbury where they get a leadoff runner on the base paths. One of those intriguing stats where still somehow Danbury trailing as of now. At 1 run, 4-3. Runner on second. First pitch, a slider. No swing from Cook. He's behind 0-1. Cook struck out swinging his last time, the 3rd. Cleaning up and being the designated hitter in this Westerners lineup. Fastball outside, gets the call. Able to shave off the corner. And times where Stallings has been able to work and paint around those edges. It takes his time to get ready. 0-2. Pitch. Fouled back. Cook out of Louisville with the Cardinals, and one of the later additions, joined around midseason for Danbury, started out in the Cape Cod League with the Wareham Gatemen. Was able to participate in the festivities to open up this summer. 0-2. Line drive into right field. It drops a base hit. The wave from Rodriguez. Ruiz on his way home. The throw coming in from Taylor. It's cut off. Not in time as it bobbles to the catcher, Owen. We're knotted at 4.
Be an unearned run. Ruiz scoring the RBI single by Cook, his 7th ribby of the season.
Now knotted up at 4 here on ESPN Plus. Danbury able to score for the first time since adding 3 to open up in the top of the first. That's the 2nd RBI hit. Second where it's a single, resulting in RBIs for the Westerners as the man who had the first in Daniel Labrador takes a called strike to open up his 3rd at bat. That one back in the first from Labrador was pulled to left. Cook, the lefty, kept it to the right. Pitch. Ground ball left side. It's the 3rd baseman Mercedes, the 2nd for 1. They go to first. It's 5-4-3. 2 twin killings to wrap up the top and bottom halves of the 5th. The score is 4-all. 1 run comes in on a hit and an error. Through 4 here on ESPN Plus, Alumni Field.
At M&T Bank, we believe in the power of together. Together, we can help your business grow. Together, we can move communities forward while giving back. Together, we can help your family spend more time on what matters most. And together, we can achieve more than ever before.
Welcome to Hurt Skirt or Just Hurt. Our first contestant is suffering from knee pain from a recent running incident. The What do we think, audience? Hurt skirt or just hurt? Why not try Hurt Skirt? Make your recovery hassle-free with Hurt Skirt, a patent-pending, stretch-to-fit, hot-cold therapeutic sleeve, proven to stay cold longer and still remain completely mobile. Drop the ice, skirt the hurt.
Curious about the awesome talent Kelly has? Well, here are some robotics specialists. This group works in telecom on 5G. They work on autonomous vehicles. Those are education professionals. Oh, and system analysts, contact center reps, biologists. There's data scientists, substitute teachers, mechanical engineers, not to mention people who work on-site and off-site. Kelly's got top talent in specialized and emerging skill sets, ready to help your business prepare for what's next.
Bottom 5 here at Alumni Field, Danbury and Keene. Score now at 4 for all that is 4.5. Iowa Santos and Jonah White here on ESPN Plus. For the SwampBats, it will be 8-9-1, Smith, Mercedes, and Horton. Second time against Carson Ballard, still on the mound in his longest appearance with the Westerners this summer. First pitch to Smith. Slider. Strike to open up. Smith struck out swinging. His first time to the plate, 0-1. Fly ball in his center field. Davis moving back. He looks over his head. That bounces off the wall. It's going to be a long single as Davis was able to rifle it back in. Smith opens up here with a single.
Kyle, I told you how hard Jordan Smith's been hitting the ball all summer. Not always with the results. That's an Alumni Field special. A single off the wall. 325 feet there to straightaway center. Smith has a lot of speed there on the bases.
Right next to the Coca-Cola sign. Now at first with Mercedes at the plate, takes a called strike. Now 2 straight innings where it's been the SwampBats starting with the Alumni Field special, a single to center. Pitch. Trying to work downstairs on that line, didn't get the call.
The Alumni Field special, Kyle, is a single off the wall. You can hit a single to center at any ballpark, but not too many places you can hit a single off the wall in center. This is one of them.
1-1. Tight pitch now, 2-1.
You can already tell Mercedes is a guy in a second game with the SwampBats, but you can already tell he's a guy who takes good at bats. Won't chase out of the strike zone. And shown it his on-base stats previously.
And with the slider low and away.
Smith, the 8-hitter, leading off with a single, and this is the 9-hitter Mercedes. So the SwampBats have a chance to set the table for the top of their order here in a tie game.
Pitch. Tapper to the first baseman, Steele, who bobbles it and loses his sunglasses, though he still steps on first to make the out. Smith goes ahead 90 feet to second. Really a sacrifice, and as for Mercedes, he was the one that kick-started the eventual run scoring in the third, though it will seem that Carson Ballard get the ball and rather wrap up his appearance, getting some fist bumps from his Westerner teammates as he finishes his first start. The NECBL will talk about the new pitcher. We come back here, the NECBL on ESPN Plus. Still in the bottom of the 5th after a quick break on ESPN Plus. The Danbury Westerners go to the bullpen and they result with the lefty and Ryan DeLorby coming in on the mound. DeLorby, his first appearance out of the bullpen. He's the inverse of Ballard. Ballard, it was his first appearance as a starter. Regardless of result, the runner on second in Smith. He lasts 4 1/3 innings, his longest outing this summer. The NECBL, and DeLorby, he's out of the University of New Orleans. He is 1-1 with an ERA of 5.53, 9 strikeouts and 13 innings of work, also 8 walks to his name.
Ryan DeLorby out of the Bronx, New York. Shout out to the 5 boroughs.
And from the Bronx was someone who got onto the team and was eventually brought on after it was Tyler O'Shea, a former Westerner now shut down, who was kind of the mediator in a sense between the two, got those talks up and running.
It's funny sometimes how roster construction works at summer ball. Before the season, it's more traditional. You got the GM calling college coaches, but during the season, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's happened a few times. Delorbe on the mound, Ruiz at shortstop. Similar situation where he talked to Luke Boynton. Ultimately came to the Westerners as a late season bat. An infielder especially. Towards second. Delorbe's first pitch. The outside corner misses ball 1.
Smith with really good speed. Probably the fastest guy in the SwampBats. The runner is second base here. And Ballard is responsible for him.
Will be another look towards the speedy Smith. Fly ball left field, low tailing foul. It's Horton at the plate. 1 out coming. And Christian Mercedes is 3 unassisted. Last batter that Carson Ballard, that Danbury starter, faced before Delorbe entered. Leading run on second. 1-1 pitch. Downstairs. 2 balls and a strike.
Ryan Delorbe, 1-1 with a 5.53 ERA. He started one of the games of the doubleheader last Thursday between these teams. And the SwampBats won 4-3. Delorbe took the loss in that game. Lasting 5 innings, giving up 4 runs on 4 hits. He walked 3, struck out 5. It was in the 5th inning where he had trouble.
Yeah, the first 4 he was as phenomenal as you want. And the 5th was when the Tide swooped in the form of the SwampBats. 6-2 count. Runner still at second. Wind, deal. Popped again, out of play, this time behind. I was talking with Delorbe at least before the game. He goes to University of New Orleans. We were talking about ESPN Plus. E1 Ball is the pitcher for him, and he was talking about how the streams look for his games because his team is covered and at least has those streamed on the platform. Another foul. Now back to the catcher, Labrador.
Delorbe, you'd think, based on the way he's been used this season, the fact that he hasn't pitched in 6 days, probably a long relief outing, or at least potentially a very long relief outing for him, even with the Westerners off tomorrow.
Gone as much as 5 innings, so can fill out that category. Pitch. Line, foul, watch out. SwampBats bullpen, they got a snag out of it as someone put their hands up. There's a lot of pink caps over there. Don't know who's who.
You're sticking your hand out there, you're ducking out of the way. I'm ducking out of the way, I'll tell you that.
Even with the netting? I've ducked out of the way too. That was just it's more of a rhetorical question.
Thinking if I'm down there in the bleachers.
I'm down. Oh yeah, definitely. No netting. I'm out. Dancing Smith. Pitch. Fouled again once more, this time left field.
What a great at-bat by Braden Horton. He's been doing that all season long. Deserved all-star for the SwampBats. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat.
6 of those pitches have been fouled. Still a runner on second. Still the leadoff man, Horton, at the plate. He's reached base both times. Lefty-lefty. Pitcher hitter. Wind. Ground ball left side, the shortstop. And underneath the glove of Ruiz in the center. Davis throws in to a running Smith. The ball goes away. 1 run scores. Going over to second is Horton. He stays there. The SwampBats regain the lead. It's 5-4.
Ay caramba. Not a pretty play for the Westerners. 5-hole through the shortstop's leg, and then the throw home from Davis goes to the backstop. It'll be 2 errors on the play.
Ruiz, as the ball rather went through his legs, not just underneath his glove. So it's the E6 to put Horton to first, and then he advances on the E8 from Davis's throw. Runner still on second, now 5-4. Ryan Padilla, the man at the plate out of UConn. Delorby fires. Down low, gets away from the catcher Labrador. Running on over to third is Horton. He takes the turn, though he will trot back. Now standing 90 feet away.
That should be a wild pitch. This is a Westerners team that plays pretty good defense overall. 973 fielding percentage. That means they make 97% of the plays. 4th best in the league. They made 31 errors coming in, but 3 errors in this game, and 2 big ones there on that play to allow the SwampBats to retake the lead 5-4.
Again, the fielding not the strong suit, at least at Alumni Field so far for Danbury, trailing 5-4. Runner 90 feet away, and Horton.
Infield in.
All 4. Pitch. Outside and low. 2 balls, no strikes. Let's see. Miller, he's on the grass. Ruiz also on the grass, as is Talavera on the right side.
Grass tends to be very slow here on the infield.
2-0. Misses. And away. 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, first base obviously open here with the only runner at third, but the 2 biggest power bats of the lineup are due up next in Taylor and Delamelier.
3-0. That's strike 1.
Big Brian taking all the way there.
Padilla, 1 for 2 on the night as a runner 90 feet away in Horton. Pitch. Low and inside, ball 4, missed. The fastball as it tailed in and now puts runners on the corners for Devin Taylor.
So the line is going to be finished now on Carson Ballard. 4 1/3, 5 hits. He'll be charged with 5 runs. Only 2 of the runs are earned, but the 3rd run could become earned based on what happens in the rest of the inning here. 1 walk and 3 strikeouts.
Taylor in another lefty-lefty matchup between batter and hitter. Pitch. Outside with the slider. 1-0.
Taylor hit a home run off Delorby last week.
Straightaway center, if I'm not mistaken. 352 here in Keene, 360 back in Danbury. 1-0. Foul tip into the mid.
We've seen 1 home run today, Kyle. These are the teams with the 1st and 3rd most home runs of the league. Danbury first, SwampBats tied for 3rd, and the teams that allow the most home runs in the league. And a lot of that due to the ballparks in which they play. 2 hitters' parks here at Alumni Field and Rogers Park in Danbury.
Indeed. 1-1. Fouled back by the lefty-right fielder, 1-2.
Danbury's given up 36 home runs now. Most of the league, the SwampBats have allowed the 2nd most with 33.
Also in the mix, if we're getting all 3 divisions involved, Ocean State up there in the low 30s as well. Runners on the corners. Pitch. Fly ball, center field, moving back Davis. He goes to left center. He bobbles away as the ball went out of his glove. Run coming in. Padilla getting the wave. The throw from Ruiz to Labrador, the tag. Ball dropped. It's down. Padilla is safe, as is Horton. 7-4.
Oh, big hit, Devin Taylor. His bat is hot as ever. Great hitters do what great hitters do. And Devin Taylor takes it inside, breaking ball, the inner part of the zone. And it's a gap double to left center, the deepest part of the ballpark. Thought Davis, with that blazing speed, might have a chance to catch up to it. He nearly did. But Brian Padilla, with his blazing speed, able to score all the way from first. Joining Horton to score on the 2-run double from Taylor. Now 3 RBIs for Devitt in the game, 20 on the season. And a 3-run lead for the SwampBats in a game they trailed 3-0 after the top of the first.
Do you think Taylor's favorite team to face, at least when it comes to getting big hits, is Danbury?
That's a good question. Certainly would be among those teams. But Devin Taylor, there's something special about this with facing Danbury. He does this. This is just what he does. Devin Taylor hits the ball hard, drives in runs. He'll be doing that a long time into the future, Kyle.
He is just finishing his freshman season with IU. Pitched at Alamaleer. Missing low for an even count at 1-1.
Taylor does now have hits in all 3 games this season against the Westerners, but this is a 300 hitter. Bona fide 300 hitter. With power, 5-tool player. He's just going to do damage no matter who he's playing.
Get some eyes on you. One pitch skips by in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. And again, Taylor also appears to develop. Developing here in Keene.
He's a special player.
I hear his name. Some capacity in the future again. Also playing in the Big Ten. Tougher conference for baseball, Power 5. Pitch. Popped up, first base. Foul territory, steal. Works away, and he slides the ball just out of his reach. Stumbled in the grass. Still another now. 2-2 count.
I love all the foul territory here at Alumni Field because it gives corner infielders a chance to make those types of plays, difficult foul ball plays, but they are indeed difficult, and Steele just never looked like he was going to catch that ball, never looked comfortable, never really settled under it.
Positioning, maybe even the lights as well, they're now on here at Alumni Field. Still a blue sky, though it's starting to fade away. Pitch. Chopper back up the middle. The shortstop Ruiz, spin throw on the first bobble into Steele with the hop, though not in time. Ruiz, the grab, the spin, and the one hopper, just too late.
SwampBats have 3 runs, 3 hits in this inning. Are out hitting the Westerners 7-2 for the game. Nice play by Ruiz, who had the error before. Even that ball on the infield, saving a run for now, but first and third with 1 out for Garrett Rice.
Now it's Connor Farrell walking out. He's already made 1 pitching change in this frame, and he hasn't signaled.
All 4 batters have reached base against Delorby. An error, a walk, a double, and then the infield single just now.
That will be how we wrap up, or rather continue to elongate, I should say, this bottom of the 5th. Now 7-4. Keene, 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Continuing here on ESPN Plus after this. Still here at Alumni Field in the bottom of the 5th, where already 3 runs have been plated by the Keene SwampBats against the Danbury Westerners now. The 7-4 lead has grown for Keene, and the Westerners will go to the bullpen for the 2nd time in the frame to bring in George Vibrock III. Vibrock, pitcher out of Denison University, D3, native of Bethel, Connecticut, just a little bit away from Danbury. Went to their games actually growing up, and not rather his last, but the start before it was his first time I should say pitching at home. He's pitched now 7 of his 8 appearances on the road. Last 2 appearances have both been starts after starting in the bullpen, going multiple innings at least. His previous 5 before those 2 starts.
Brock 2-0 with a sparkling 1.15 earned run average.
Second on the team behind Anthony Steele, who in that longer relief/closer role is down to 1.08.
Just 6 walks and 26 strikeouts allowed by V. Brock at 23 1/3.
Runners on the corners, and the first pitch is a swing and a miss. Against Garrett Rice. Rice is at the plate. Taylor is at third, and Delamalier is at first. Rice singled to center. His last time up, and he evens the count at 1-1 as he watches the low and inside breaking ball get by from V. Brock.
For the SwampBats here, I want to know that V. Brock is the best reliever Danbury has available today. Take patient at bats. Don't get out early in counts. And at the very least, see if you can chase him from the game after an inning or two.
Obviously on the mind of the SwampBats hitters. Now 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. One batter faced for George V. Brock III, and a swinging strikeout from the DH and Rice.
It's a big out with runners at first and third. Good speed as well. Taylor at third, Delamalier at first, and now it'll be up to Jackson Owen to try and score Taylor with a base hit.
It's the first out since Christian Mercedes. The second batter coming to the plate in the fifth. Owen now at the plate is the 8th. First pitch swinging. He pops that one high a mile into left field. Moving on over there is Feinberg. Foul territory, leans back and makes a spectacular catch to finish up the 5th inning. When it comes to the SwampBats, 3 runs on 3 hits, 2 errors, and 2 runners left on base. They lead 7-4 now after 5 innings. The NECBL and ESPN Plus. Into the 6th on ESPN Plus. NECBL baseball between the Keene SwampBats and Danbury Westerners. The SwampBats now out to a 7-4 lead. As we're getting the final wrap-ups from the ball toss into the SwampBat mobile. We've been seeing some of the kids and some of the fellow workers here at Alumni Field entering foul territory to make sure that there are no, I believe,
tennis balls.
Tennis balls. I didn't know if it was tennis balls or they were foam in some sort.
They're tennis balls. Buck a pop at the entrance. Throw them into that purple painted Batmobile as it drives around, and you can win a prize. Wonder if anyone got it in there that time.
Now here at the plate is Anthony Steele. First pitch to him called strike, breaking ball high and in. 0-1 to the first baseman, who struck out both times, one swinging, one looking. Was frozen on the slider in the 3rd, struck out swinging in the 1st.
3 innings, 1 unearned run, 1 hit, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts so far for Stallings. He's picked up where he left off.
I pop up to our left. Slipping is Mercedes. The ball had him leaning back before he lost his footing, and it drops mere inches before the glove. We've seen that a few times now already on both sides. It was Steele at the plate at first, and this time Mercedes at 3rd.
Just hard plays to make. In your corner infield, you're not used to making that type of play. Ball moving around.
Oh, 2. Fly ball right field. Moving back is Taylor. He's rather not going to look at it. Adios!
Wow. Oh my goodness. 415 feet. Wow!
And you will see the bat of Anthony Steele this Sunday in the home run derby at Fraser Field. A solo shot, an absolute mammoth blast to right. 7-5.
Wow. 415. Kyle, I don't have the numbers on me. That might be, don't quote me on this, might be the longest home run in the NECBL this summer.
That one.
It's at least close. Wow.
That was something. Called strike to Hayden Miller, 0-1, and we talked about it earlier on.
The all-star closer.
You think that guy would be a closing pitcher too?
No, not usually. Usually guys that hit the ball 415 do just that.
Miller gets hit on the elbow and reaches on the hit by pitch. I'm still in awe of what. And then I see looking basically at us.
Well, there's a barn out there, right center. That ball almost cleared the barn.
That was
wow,
something.
A titanic home run.
These are the first two strikeouts. I wondered if he was looking for that, and it might have been harming him, but the home run makes it 7-5. Miller on first after the hit by pitch. Bam Talavera, strikeout victim, looking his last time. First pitch shows bunt, puts it down the first base side. Miller to second. Stallings will have to go to first. No throw attempted. Didn't even give it a look. As Miller is now in at second after the sacrifice works to perfection.
And not sure whether Talavera was trying to bunt there, was told to as a sacrifice, or if he's trying to bunt for a base hit there. Either way, it goes as a sacrifice, 1-3. And now it'll be Jacoby Davis with one out and a runner at second base.
Is ruled, at least as a sac hit. Miller now stands on second, the tying run in Davis at the plate. Stallings a look towards second before coming home. Inside, all one. Davis has flown out to the warning track in left and struck out swinging his first two times up in the second and fourth. Taking his time.
Sorry, Kyle, one thing I wondered there is if you're going to bunt him over, might there be a thought of trying to steal second and bunting him over to third? I don't know. I'm just in general, I'm not a big proponent of the sacrifice bunt. Not sure if that was intended to be one there again.
It's more misses inside to Davis. 2 balls and a strike. And again, that could be looked at just a 1-3 put out, just a sac hit, at least in the scorebook. It was ruled a sac hit.
Where are you on sacrifice bunting, Kyle?
That's a really good question, honestly. Man, he could probably do that in Davis as he swings and misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I feel like, again, you have to have a similar time and scenario. If I was a coach, I didn't know, or rather I don't know if I would go for it off the bat like that, and I wasn't trying to make a pun there. But if it's the right time, I mean, it's always there with the option. 2-2. Did Davis hold back? Yes, he did.
Oh.
Rather, some miscommunication, though, will be the third base umpire in Segala who overtakes it. Now full count. The home plate umpire in the Bardoni thought he went, but Segala said no plane was broken.
I thought he went.
3-2. And that's a very big miss there. Stallings a little hop. Davis with a walk.
Oh, just off the inside corner. 2 tough calls there for the SwampBats. The check swing ruled no swing, and then a close pitch there at 90, just off the inside corner for ball 4.
So the tying run in the top of the 6th now stands on first base in the form of Jacoby Davis. Another lefty. And Jason Claiborne now comes to the dish. Stallings looking to Miller at second, coming home up high. Claiborne and Davis, 2 of the lefties in the outfield, the lone 2 lefties, I should say, in the outfield. 2 of just 3 lefty hitters for the Westerners on their roster. 1-0, bunt shown, pulled back, called strike. Claiborne also testing the waters, maybe. It's already been done. Bam Talavera did so earlier on here in the top of the 6th. Now Stallings sets. Looks to second. Comes home. Missing for ball 2 inside. Now the catcher in Owen double checking with the home plate umpire in Alan Libardoni.
Another close pitch there, evidently just off the inside corner.
First and second, still here in the top of the 6th, the 7-5 ball game. Stallings now waiting and getting ready after the signs. Pitch. Liner over the glove of Mercedes to left field, a base hit. Miller getting waved around. He will be the lone run to score. An RBI single the opposite way from Jason Claiborne. It's 7-6.
Davis stopping at second base. Good piece of hitting there by Claiborne with the RBI single to make it a 1-run game.
And a big time for the shortstop in Matt Ruiz to step into the plate already. 0 for 2, rather 0 for 3, reaching on an error. Also at shortstop in the field, there's been some bobbles here and there. First and second now still for Danbury after the RBI single, and the breaking ball went to the slider for a called strike. He's the 6th batter to come to the plate for the Westerners. Now trails 7-6. Looking for a pickoff maybe at second before the throw. Held back on the check swing from the shortstop. Ball and a strike. Ruiz reaching on the E3 was Horton to Stallings, and Ruiz was able to head to second after the ball went into the large foul territory of the first base side. 1-1 pitch, he fouls it back. And Ruiz was talking to him before the game and was asking, hey, final few weeks in the regular season, what do you want to accomplish with the Westerners? Is the team trying to push to the playoffs? And both times he reiterated that this is a team with the championship and the Vincent Cup on their minds. A lot of the players have told me that over the season. 1-2 inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The breaking ball didn't break enough.
Key in the Fay Vincent Senior Cup playoffs is that you just have to win 3 3-game series, no matter what seed you enter as, 1 through 8. Just got to get in, and you have a real chance.
Bit different the last time that the Westerners played, as time will not be called by Ruiz. Pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The high cheese there for the second out. Ruiz was trying to call time. He was not granted. He said, all right. Continue. He goes down swinging. Second time he's been struck out. Feinberg, the left fielder now. First and second. 7-6. Keene in favor. First pitch outside, ball 1. Feinberg has walked twice and grounded out 5-3. It was Mercedes to Horton. Heading the count, a ball and no strikes to Stallings, who's looking and getting the signs from his catcher Owen. Look towards second for Davis. Pitch. Popped up high. Right side, the infield, the catcher Owen tailing back. And it's in front of him as he thought the ball had a lot more in the arc.
Nobody knew where that ball was. And, well, the SwampBats fortunate with 2 outs, so that doesn't drop in fair territory.
That one could have been a lot worse, as Davis was steps away from home. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, first and second. Stallings will take a breath. Feinberg as well will take some time to put the lumber back on his right shoulder. He does so. First and second. 1-1. Fly ball left field. Moving back to Lamalier. He's still there. He's looking for the ball. At the fence, the ball drops. Davis scoring. Claiborne on his way too. He scores. The Westerners have come all the way back. They lead 8-7.
Blake has played a good outfield all season long. Not quite sure what happened there. It was a well-struck ball next to the fence. Sure, he had trouble contending with the lights, but that just went off his glove. It bounced off his glove. It'll be a two-base error, and that's going to be it for Cole Stallings.
Sean McKenna comes out from the dugout. Stallings gives him the ball, and that will be it. We'll have a new pitcher now in an 8-7 ball game. He'll still here, I should say, in the top of the 6th. The NECBL on ESPN+. Still in the top of the 6th inning here on ESPN+. NECBL baseball between the Danbury Westerners and Keene SwampBats. SwampBats dig deeper into the bullpen. They go to Tommy Sullivan, the new right-hander.
Yeah, Tommy Sullivan out of Franklin Pierce. Mid-season addition to the SwampBats roster. Began the summer with the Futures League's Brockton Rocks. 6'1", 200, righty out of Franklin Pierce, sophomore from Plymouth, Massachusetts. Sullivan in 2 appearances has thrown 5 innings, given up 9 hits and 5 runs, walked 2, struck out 4. Tommy Sullivan now the 4th pitcher of the game for the SwampBats. Tommy throws 5 pitches, 4-seam, 2-seam slider, changeup, and a curveball. And he takes over in a game the SwampBats trail once more. It's been a wild one. It's now 8-7 Danbury. Sullivan takes over for Stallings.
8 runs on 4 hits and 3 errors for the Danbury Westerners. Now 7 runs on 7 hits and 1 error, that error being the E7. Harrison Feinberg bringing in the runs. Davis and Claiborne.
Got the attendance for tonight's game, 1,025 here at Alumni Field on Pink in the Park night, presented by Haas Remodeling.
The Pink Hats donned by the SwampBats here today as the first pitch is called strike on the slider to Cook. Mentioned it earlier on, I like the collaboration and the complementary colors in a sense between purple and pink. Leaning into that. 0-1. Ground ball right side, broken bat, bobbled by the first baseman. Horton flips underhand to Sullivan, who steps on the bag. The top of the 6th, 4 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. It's 8-7 here. Danbury leads the NECBL on ESPN+. Alumni Field, the site for Danbury and Keene here on ESPN+. Pink at the Park night at Alumni Field. The attendance talked about the bottom of the 5th, or rather top of the 6th, I should say. Coming in at 1,025 for a game where 15 runs have come across the score.
Yeah, it's been an interesting game. 8 runs on just 4 hits for the Westerners, who've made 3 errors. 7 runs on 7 hits for the SwampBats, who've made 2 errors, including a really costly one there by Delamolier to allow 2 runs to score and Danbury to take the lead in the top of the 6th with 2 outs.
Brock the third still on the mound for the Westerners against Tony Livermore. First pitch to him, inside. 1-0.
Well, now this is a huge high-leverage situation now for George V. Brock, a great reliever for the Westerners. And the importance is even greater now for the SwampBats to take long at-bats against him and get him out of this game to try to see the rest of the relatively thin Westerners bullpen on the other side.
Livermore echoes your point, now ahead 2 balls and no strikes. He's grounded out twice, the last a double play in the 4th, first 1-3 in the 2nd. 2-0. Dials down the low outside corner. Now 2-1. Fastball there from the 3-pitch mix of Vibrock. 2-1. Little looper into center, right into the glove of Jacoby Davis for out number 1.
A couple of pitching lines for you, Kyle. Ryan DeLorby, no outs, 2 hits, 2 unearned runs, 1 walk and no strikeouts. For the SwampBats, Cole Stallings goes 3 2/3, giving up 3 hits and 5 runs, 2 of them earned. He walked 3 and struck out 7.
Different pitching changes. Again, DeLorby replaced Ballard. Vibrock III replaced DeLorby after 4 batters faced. 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. Came by on 2 hits and a walk, as mentioned again. First pitch to Smith, the center fielder, low and inside for a ball. Smith, the Alumni Field special. Single to the wall. 1-0. Taps it back foul. That was better than singles to center, correct?
Right, an Alumni Field special just because it's so shallow when you hit it to the wall and it's only a single. You get those to the major league level and really only select ballparks. Obviously, you get monster shots off the wall in Fenway that bounce back to the left fielder for singles. And you know, it's just something funny where you hit a ball maybe 3-4 feet further, and instead of a single, you get a home run. But Smith did come around to score a key run for the SwampBats in that 3-run fifth, which saw them took the lead, only they've since gone behind.
Swing and a miss from the center fielder Smith. He's behind a ball in 2 strikes.
And again, I can't say this enough. As much as anything else for the SwampBats, this is about making Vibrock work, getting him out of the game, and seeing who's next out of the Danbury bullpen.
1-2. Popped up. First base side. Labrador, Steele, and Vibrock all watch it. Touchdown on the roof. 1-2.
Every long at bat, every foul ball, a small victory for the SwampBats.
Vibrock in his last appearance, a start where he went for 6 innings. Got up as high as 74 pitches.
A long way from that now. He's thrown 13 pitches in this game.
8-7, Danbury taking the lead after scoring 4 runs in the top of the 6th. 1-2-1 away here in the bottom of that frame as another foul back on the slider. Smith stays alive. Vibrock's been working the strikes, at least in his low number of pitches. 10 of his 14 have been either called strikes, swung on strikes, or fouled away. And that's another foul. Ricocheting off at the catcher's mask. Labrador throws back to Vibrock. He seems to be okay. On deck, Christian Mercedes. Mercedes, it was the 2 RBI hit back in the 6th from Feinberger, rather the single from Claiborne before. Sailed over his glove. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Fastball high and away. And Smith went chasing. Second strikeout for Vibrock. So Livermore flew out. Smith struck out swinging. Christian Mercedes, the 9-hole hitter, steps in. First pitch. Upstairs. Ball 1.
Whether you're an island resident or planning a summer getaway, the fastest way to get to the Cape and Islands is by taking the New England League's preferred partner, the Steamship Authority Ferry. Visit steamshipauthority.com for more information.
1-0. Inside now, 2 balls and no strikes. One of the interesting aspects of the New England League, especially in this current iteration of it, the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, one team where to get there you have to take again the Steamship Authority Ferry over.
Sure do.
teams here have done that. 2-0, have fouled back.
You don't take it back.
You do not.
Does not run that late into the night. What was your time on the pontoon boat?
I've done it a few times now, at least in my third summer, taking that trip. 2-1. Swing and a miss, 2 balls and 2 strikes. First time I sat underneath, which wasn't good. I don't get seasick, and that got to me. The many number of times after that, I've been up top, and it's almost kind of soothing in a sense, especially the sounds of the water. 2-2. High and tight, 3 balls, 2 strikes. The fastball drifting in from the lefty Vibrock.
This is already a good at bat from Mercedes. I'll make Vibrock throw a 6th pitch to him.
Really the 3rd straight good at bat as the 3-2 pitch is up high and outside for ball 4. Mercedes, he works his 2nd walk. Get on base.
First base runner against George Vibrock III. Now a left-on-left matchup with Horton.
Horton has reached base all 3 times, 2 of them errors, and 1 of them a solo home run. He's come around to score all 3 times and now makes it ball and no strikes after the pitch.
A couple of finals, Kyle, I give you from the out-of-town scoreboard. Ocean State beat Bristol 2-1. That is good news for the Westerners.
Indeed it is. Danbury entered today a game behind Bristol, who was tied atop the NECBL.
Sanford beat Martha's Vineyard 4-2. Vermont leads North Adams 10-1 in the 7th inning in Vermont.
Pitch fouled back.
And Newport leads Upper Valley 9-1. Bottom of the 6th in a 7-inning game in Newport. Goals won earlier today, game 1 of that doubleheader, 10-1. And the North Shore Navigators beat the Mystic Schooners 3-2 earlier today.
North Shore and Mystics a big matchup, especially not only the Coastal Division at the middle part's getting close together, but the wild card as the runner is on the move. Popped up high in the air. Daniel Labrador takes off the mask and runs for it. The ball will head out. 1-2. Infield pop-ups have not been anyone's friend tonight.
They have not been.
Once more,
it's been tough.
Getting away, and this time over the fence. Some shaking of the heads from the catcher and Labrador. It was him, Steele, Ballard. I think even Miller almost ran in. He's at 3rd. Everyone wanted a piece of it. Mercedes at 1st. Jane swinging. Next pitch. Liner past the glove of Talavera to right field. A base hit coming up gunning was Claiborne. No throw realistically was to be made, as it is now 1st and 2nd for the SwampBats, with Brian Padilla stepping into the plate.
4th time on base for Horton, who's reached on 2 errors and 2 hits. Now a chance for Padilla, who's 1 for 2 with a walk and 2 runs scored.
So 2 infield errors, 2 hits to right, 1 a 4-bagger. This one just for 1. 1st and 2nd now. Tying run in scoring position for Keene. Pitch. Line back up the middle, a base hit to Davis. Already the wave around Mercedes. The throw cut off by Steele as it dribbles away before Labrador retrieves it. 8-8 in the bottom of the 6th.
Wow, what a barn burner this game is turning into. 8-8 in the 6th. Good piece of hitting by Brian Padilla. He lines a fastball the upper part of the zone straight into center for his 4th RBI of the season. Mercedes scoring from 3rd. It's a bit of a 2-out rally here for the SwampBats. Walk, single to tie the game, all with 2 outs.
Also, if the Broadcast jinx couldn't come at a worser time. The tying run on second. Not anymore. At the plate, a big bat. Devin Taylor, first and second. Pitch. Breaks in, upstairs. Ball 1.
Taylor, 1 for 3, 3 RBIs in this game. A 2-run double to the left center field gap his last time up.
A ball and no strikes now to the lefty at the plate. 1-0. Another time it was a breaking ball from V. Brock and now missed low. 2 balls, still no strikes. So now 16 runs on 13 hits.
There's a headlight on in center field. We've seen games stopped for this in the past. It must not be causing an issue, though, for anybody at the moment.
It's a car.
Oh, the car's pulling out.
Around,
so it won't
yes.
be an issue.
Pitch. Called strike. Outside looked to be framed beautifully by Labrador.
It was. It's a big call. Evan Taylor's always going to have a green light on 3-0 and look to drive one, but instead it's 2 balls and a strike.
2-1. First and second. 2 outs. Bottom 6. Pitch. Liner up the middle into center field. A base hit. Horton on his horse. The throw cut off by Steele. All the way back. It's the SwampBats this time. 9-8 the lead.
4 RBI day for Devin Taylor. 4 in a row have reached now for the Bats. And brings up Blake Delamier with Keene in front 9-8.
Back and forth. Back and forth. Mound visit from Connor Farrell now awaiting something that someone said in the dugout. A little hard of feeling, at least for that one, but takes the trip.
Wow, what a game this has been. 9-8, and we're in the bottom of the 6th.
The second straight game for the Westerners where it's been a score of 9-8. It was the final yesterday. Already opportunities to continue as it's more of an exchange between V. Brock and the entire infield of Miller, Ruiz, Talavera, Steele, and Labrador.
V. Brock was cruising. It was a question. It appeared to be a question of how long he was going to last, whether he was going to be able to go the distance for the Westerners, but not so fast after retiring their first 4. 2 outs and nobody on. Mercedes started with a walk. Horton, Padilla, and Taylor following with 3 straight singles. And the SwampBats taking a 9-8 lead here in the bottom half of the 6th.
Big power bat as well. Blake Delamier steps in first and second, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th still. Many runs score between the 5th and the 6th as V. Brock comes home. Tapped foul behind 0-1. 10 runs have been scored. These last 2 frames as of now, still 1 more out in the 6th. 9 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors, the line. The SwampBats as of now. Delamier looking to add some more. First and second, the runners. Pitch. This is outside. Ball and a strike on the slider. Delamier has gotten hits in his back-to-back plate appearances. 1 to right center, the other to short, and now time will be called. Labrador going out to talk with V. Brock III, especially in a big pitch. This game's gone back and forth. Still separated only by a run. Again, in this game, 17 runs on 14 hits, 5 errors.
Wow.
Danbury entering today, and rather Labrador still talking after a quick look away. Final words for V. Brock III. Danbury entered today. We were mentioning the final wild card spot. Just a game back of the West Division in itself. Tie up top between Bristol and Valley, who have worked the ties in to make it ever so interesting and harder for us to know which is what. 1-1. Breaking ball outside. Again, the slider, 2-1.
Yeah, the tie's really going to throw a wrench into things come the end of the season in terms of tiebreaker scenarios, win percentages, things like that. Either way, it's going to be a very interesting race to the finish down the stretch here. Qualify for the Fay Vincent Senior Cup playoffs.
2-1. Fouled back. Deuces wide. Bristol has been a part of all three ties. Valley, Newport, and Vermont have each been the opposition, though the last one happened yesterday. The Lights were having trouble at Muzzy. It was called after 5. That was a big game between two divisional leaders in the West and the Coastal Division.
Right, there have been 4 ties. Bristol have been involved in 3.
Indeed it is. Foul tipped into the glove. Wait a minute. What's the call?
Foul ball.
Apparently so. Contact was made regardless. It was just the idea of whether or not it foul tipped into the glove, or if it touched down, or if it did anything else, quite frankly, in order for the hitter in the Lamalier to stay alive, as he now does. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners at first and second.
V. Brock has thrown 31 pitches in this inning.
Westerners bullpen already outdone from the last few games. Shrug, 2-2. This is outside, full count.
Action pitch.
87 on the gun. V-Rock tops out at 88, especially with that fastball. Full count. Runners at first and second. Payoff pitch. Swing! And a miss for strike 3. V-Brock gets out with the damage done. 2 runs on 3 hits. 2 runners left on base here on ESPN Plus for NECBL Baseball. Keene leads Danbury 9-8. Through 6 here at Alumni Field on ESPN Plus. 9-8 the score. 2 hours, 32 minutes since first pitch. I'm Kyle DeSantis. Let's hand things back over to Jonah White, the voice of the SwampBats.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Barn burner, 9-8 the score. It's the Westerners trailing the SwampBats. It's been a back and forth game to say the least. Daniel Labrador is a batter against Tommy Sullivan, and he takes strike 1. 8 runs, 4 hits, 3 errors, and 4 men left on base. Check that, 5 men left on base for Danbury so far in this game. For the SwampBats, 9 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors, and 4 left on base. Low roller to third. Mercedes, top play. He makes it. Christian Mercedes flashing the leather and retiring Labrador for the first out of the top of the 7th for Tommy Sullivan. Good start for Mercedes in his SwampBats career. He's already walked 3 times in 5 plate appearances. Scored 3 runs. And he's been good at the field. Here's Anthony Steele, who had a 415-foot bomb his last time up. Sullivan, the Franklin Pierce righty, has him to chase a breaking ball. It is 0-1. If you're just joining us here on ESPN Plus, Danbury took the lead 3-0 in the first inning. SwampBats got a run back and a solo home run from Braden Horton. 0-1 on the inside corner. It is 0-2. Keene then struck for 3 more runs at the bottom of the third to go up 4-3. Danbury tied it at 4 at the top of the 5th before the SwampBats retook the lead 7-4 in the bottom half. Swing and a miss. Strike three and a breaking ball in the dirt. Owen gets the angle, completes the strikeout. 2 men away. First three retired by Sullivan, who got the final out in the 6th inning. And now it'll bring up Hayden Miller. There has been one 1-2-3 inning in this ball game so far. It was the bottom of the 2nd when Carson Ballard retired the SwampBats in order. Miller is 0 for 1. He's walked, been hit by a pitch, and scored a run. A sword there, and it's 0-1. Danbury scored 4 runs at the top of the 6th to take an 8-7 lead, and the SwampBats struck back for 2 in the bottom half. That's where we are now, 9-8. Pitch is low. 81 from the Franklin Pierce Raven. Two balls at a strike. Hey fans, we need you and want to hear from you. Visit survey.necbl.com to complete a brief survey and have a chance to win a $500 Visa gift card or NECBL hat. The survey is live now, so don't wait to have your voice heard and enter for your chance to win. Visit survey.necbl.com. 3 balls at his strike on Hayden Miller. Takes outside ball 4. 2-out walk issued by Sullivan. It's the 7th walk of the game issued by SwampBat pitching. It'll bring up Bam Talavera, who is 0 for 1 with a sac bunt his last time. He's also walked in this game. There's a strike to Talavera. If you're just joining us, you're unfamiliar with the NECBL. It's a 13-team collegiate summer league, one of the top leagues in the country. If you ask just about anybody, across all 6 New England states, 8 out of 13 teams make the playoffs. This one's outside 1-1. Right now, Danbury occupies the 8th and final playoff spot, the 5th and final wild card spot, up a half game on the North Shore Navigators from Lynn, Massachusetts. The SwampBats entering today 4.5 games behind the Westerners for that last playoff spot. There's a strike at a breaking ball, and it's 1-2 from Sullivan to Talavera. This is an all-NE10 matchup. The Franklin Pierce Raven against the Southern Connecticut State batter, and Talavera. Throw back over to second, and diving back in there safely is Hayden Miller. NE10 regarded widely as one of the best Division II conferences in the country. 1-2 runner goes, swing and a miss, strike 3. Tommy Sullivan got him with a 79-mile-an-hour slider. His second strikeout. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. We stretch in Keene. It's the SwampBats 9, the Westerners 8. This is the NECBL on ESPN+.
Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the place. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, work the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. Yeah, it's one all, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go.
First thing, Bruce felt was quality, the consistency, knowing that when I take them out, they're going to be the same every time. And the second was to be able to see kids all over the country wearing the gloves that I designed. That's one of the coolest parts of this.
Ignite your athletes. Empower your coaches. Rally your community.
Got it.
Support every team with one solution with the Huddle Athletic Department Package. You put all your school's coaching tools under one roof. From recording to analyzing to sharing, with your Huddle AD package, you cover every angle.
Oh,
Equal
good, no
access
rush.
means equal opportunity, and equal opportunity means full potential. Let's take your department to the next level.
Garrett Rice leads off the home seventh for the SwampBats. Jonah White, Kyle DeSantis with you here at Alumni Field. Executive producer PJ Moynihan. Graphics is Ryan Hurd. And the director is Stephen Pierce. Garrett Rice, fourth time batting for the number 5 hitter for the SwampBats. He's 1 for 3 with a single back of the fourth. SwampBats trying to snap a 4-game losing streak and gain a full game in the NECBL playoff race. They have a 9-8 lead in a back-and-forth game here in Keene, New Hampshire. 0-2 on Garrett Rice. That is in the dirt, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. We had our first team punch its ticket to the NECBL playoffs earlier today. Newport Gulls did that with their blowout win in Game 1 of a doubleheader against the Upper Valley Nighthawks. Newport now 25-8-1. They are officially in as 1 out of 8 teams in the NECBL playoffs. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the North Adams Steeplecats are close to elimination. They are 7-26. They will be with their loss today against Vermont. Pop up to shallow left. This could be trouble, but it's caught by the shortstop, Ruiz, for out number 1. Good job by Matt Ruiz, and it'll be Jackson Owen, the catcher, who's 0 for 3. Oh my goodness. The Mountaineers have an 18-1 lead over the Steeplecats. So North Adams will be headed to 7-26. They'll shortly be the first team eliminated from contention in the NECBL. Newport beat Upper Valley in the second game of their doubleheader, as Owen swings and misses. So Newport 10-1 winners and 13-1 winners over Upper Valley, who are now 16-16 in an absolute free fall in the NECBL. Newport improving now to 26-8-1. Still on track to be the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs. So now that Vermont North Adams game is the only other game currently in progress. And again, Vermont 18, North Adams 1, top of the 8th in Montpelier. Ball at a strike here to Jackson Owen, with the SwampBats trying to tack on. They lead 9-8. Despite out hitting Danbury 10-4. Owen takes a strike, and it's 1-2. V. Brock now up to 46 pitches with that last one to Jackson Owen. The next breaking ball looped toward shallow center. Coming in is Davis. He makes a catch for out number 2. So 2 outs and nobody on. It'll be Tony Livermore who's 0 for 3. 2 outs and nobody on, though, is how the bottom of the 6th started for George V. Brock. And a walk and 3 straight singles plated 2 runs and gave the SwampBats this 9-8 lead. All-Star against All-Star right now. V. Brock against Livermore. Tony takes his strike. Speaking of All-Star, tell you a bit more about the All-Star game, which is coming up shortly, July 23rd, this Sunday, at Fraser Field in Lynn, Massachusetts, presented by Metro Credit Union. Don't miss a marquee event of the summer. Visit asg23.necbl.com for more info. And don't forget about the fan vote. Our loyal fans are selecting 2 players to that All-Star game. The vote is live now, online at vote23.necbl.com. Eric Chalice Jr. is the candidate for the SwampBats. Much deserving, I might add. The left-handed pitcher from Kent State. For Danbury, it's Billy Gerlot, their fan vote representative. Gerlot came out after being hit by a pitch in this game in the first inning. On 1-2, Livermore. It's one high in the air to left. Back goes Feinberg. Well in front of the warning track, he makes a catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for George V. Brock III. Nothing across, we go to the 8th. 9-8 SwampBats. A game against their direct rival. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. Top of the 8th, 9-8 SwampBats here at Alumni Field.
The choice of Major League All-Stars is now the official batting gloves of the New England League. Bruce Bolt. Bruce Bolt batting gloves are handmade by skilled craftsmen using 100% real Cabretta leather. The stitching, materials, and unique design make these the best-fitting, most durable batting gloves in baseball. For more information, visit brucebolt.us. That's brucebolt.us.
The official batting gloves of the New England League. Bruce Bolt also bringing you the home run back in the first inning for the SwampBats by Braden Horton. That's the margin right now, 9-8. Tommy Sullivan has thrown an inning at a third scoreless. 9-1-2 here for the Westerners, starting with the Cornell outfielder Jacoby Davis, who is 0 for 2. He walked and scored in the 6th. Back and forth affair here in Keene, New Hampshire, between 2 of the longest tenured teams of the NECBL. That's dotted in, 1 ball and 1 strike. SwampBats have 5 championships, the second most all-time in this league. The Westerners won their first Fay Vincent Senior Cup championship in 2021. The 1-1. Breaking ball, dotted in, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Both teams still have that as the objective this season. Might seem a long way away for the SwampBats, but if you get into the playoffs, the SwampBats could close out this game, close some ground, make the playoffs. You never know if you get into that 8-team field. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tommy Sullivan is dealing. Breaking ball down low at 79. The 3rd strikeout for Sullivan. Last inning, the SwampBats had Evan Goforth, the position player, warming up in the bullpen. SwampBats don't have very many available arms available in the bullpen behind Sullivan. So it'll be interesting to see if they do bring in Goforth, the position player. And now Sean McKenna's having a conversation with Alan Libardoni. I'm not sure what about, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure, to be exact, about what the conference between the home plate umpire, Alan Libardoni, and the SwampBats manager, Sean McKenna, was. But whatever it was, it seems to have subsided, and now it is the catcher, rather, Bardoni. I think the topic is warnings. Warning, it almost... I don't think it was a player. It might have been someone sitting right behind home plate on the first base side. The Westerners making some light of the situation, trying to start a Let's Go Westies chant, but I think we're back to baseball.
Yeah, Alan Libardoni, I think, was warning the Danbury Someone in the Danbury dugout. It appeared to be right below us. Anyway, Claiborne tries to bunt and comes up empty. Claiborne is 1 for 3, an RBI single and a run scored in the 6th. Nothing in 1 on the Westerners right fielder. And this is a pop-up. Left side, Jackson Owen will run out of room. Thud, nothing in 2. This is on the roof of our press box here.
Grateful that we do have a roof in this press box. Otherwise, it'd be a little more hectic.
You think?
Slightly.
0-2 to Claiborne. Sullivan deals high. Fastball at 87 miles an hour. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Danbury's off tomorrow. The SwampBats are back home against the Bristol Blues at 6:30. 1-2. Swung on and missed strike 3. He shorted him, twisted him into a pretzel with a slider inside. Fourth strikeout for Tommy Sullivan, and the next batter will be Matt Ruiz. He is 0 for 4. He struck out twice, reached out an error, and scored a run. SwampBats looking for their first 1-2-3 inning defensively in this ball game. Keene leading 9-8. All 3 games between these teams this season have been very close. Last week in the 2 7-inning games at Rogers Park, it was 4-3 SwampBats and 7-6 Westerners. Unfortunate that we won't see each other the rest of this regular season. The 1-1 pitch. Strike on the outside corner at 88. And it's 1-2 on Matt Ruiz with 2 outs in the 8th. Under the lights at Alumni Field, a 1-2. Foul toward the Swamp.
I'm assuming the swamp out there is where the name SwampBats come from?
That is correct. What gave it away?
Dementia.
Yep. Keene SwampBats. You met Ribby?
I saw him a little bit before.
Mascot. Outside, 2-2. Ribby is the star of the show here, and he's got a friend here this evening. I know you pointed him out earlier, Kyle. Ribby's friend, Wally the Green Monster, is in the house at Alumni Field tonight from the Boston Red Sox. The 2-2. Driven towards center. Smith going back. This game is tied at 9. A bullet home run off the bat of Matt Ruiz. His first homer of the season with 2 strikes in the 8th inning. It's 9-9.
Let's go, Matt Jansen. Rightly so. Knotted again. 9 runs each.
357 feet, a bullet to dead center. 99 miles an hour off the bat. And we've got a brand new ball game here in the top of the 8th.
How many times have we had to say a brand new ball game?
Well, it's been a lot. It has been back and forth and back and forth. And more to come. Feinberg pops it up on the infield. Horton calling and making the catch. Shine retired, but a game-tying home run off the bat of Matt Ruiz makes it 9-9 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. The new pitcher for the Westerners in a 9-9 game is Andrew Castelluccio for the bottom of the 8th.
Castelluccio, in his 6th appearance with the Westerners, has finished up his first year at St. John's. 11 1/3 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts to 3 walks. Also a save, though now not applicable in a tie ball game, 9-9.
Castelluccio 0-1 with a 7.14 ERA, but just 3 walks, 13 strikeouts so far this season. So the SwampBats will have to earn their way to try to plate the go-ahead run. Matt Ruiz tied the game at 9 with a home run to center field at the top of the 8th. And Castelluccio takes over for George V. Brock III. V. Brock went 2 2/3, given up 3 hits and 2 earned runs. He walked 1 and struck out 3. It'll be 8-9-1 for the SwampBats. Jordan Smith, Christian Mercedes, and Braden Horton in the bottom of the 8th. The game approaching the 3-hour mark. First pitch was 6:36. It's now 9:34. Smith takes ball 1 down and in. Jordan has struck out twice and shingled off the center field wall. George Mason, center fielder, flies this one toward the left field corner. Foul ball! Oh, Jordan Smith just missed a go-ahead home run. He turned on it, but it's a long strike 1.
Well, at least now 2 years in a row where a thing or two about foul balls to left field. Harrison Feinberg, similar spot last summer when Danbury was here in Keene. Also trailed foul down the left field line.
And he goes with a breaking ball and fools Smith. 1-2. 72 there on the breaking pitch from Castelluccio.
It's like he went down to the slider with it.
Ball 1-2. Fouled off, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Smith has excellent speed here if he can get on base.
Castelluccio, not exactly someone that will blow you by, as he will ask and receive a new baseball. 4-seam fastball sits mid-80s. Changeup high 70s to 81 in the low 80s, and slider is mid and low 70s.
The 4th pitcher in this game for Danbury. Smith, it's a comebacker. Castelluccio has it, underhands to first to get Smith. 1 out.
A very different end to the at-bat with how it originally started.
That'll bring up Christian Mercedes, who is 0 for 1, but he has walked twice and scored twice at his first start as a Keene SwampBat. Already demonstrated himself to be a patient hitter. Still looking for his first hit as a SwampBat, but he's already drawn 3 walks in 5 plate appearances. And he takes strike 1 at the knees at a breaking ball. So we look ahead to the 9th inning. The Westerners will have Cook, Labrador, and Steele 2 up. 4, 5, and 6 in their batting order. And I have a question, Kyle. Are we looking at potentially Javon Hernandez and Luke Boynton coming off the bench in this game for the Westerners, or not really?
I feel like that's in the mind of Connor Farrell right now. He was very clear, at least before the game when I talked to him, that for Hernandez it's more of an off day. Boynton came in as a pinch hitter yesterday in the loss against Mystic, so I'm sure those cards are being dealt with currently.
2 very dangerous bats on the bench here for the Westerners. 2 balls, 2 strikes here on Christian Mercedes against Castelluccio. The wide to the pitch. Swatted toward left. That is caught by Feinberg. 2 men away. Hard hit. A bit too hard hit. 2 outs and nobody on for Braden Horton, who has scored 4 runs in this game. 2 for 4, a homer, a single. He's reached out an error twice. First pitch to Braden. Big, a rip and a miss, hit at 80-mile-an-hour changeup.
Also, at least, again, back to that foul home run that opened up this game, the second in 3 games where that's happened for Danbury's opponent. North Shore fell into a similar trap on Monday.
0-2, the count on Horton. Castelluccio looks for a 1-2-3 inning. The 0-2 pitch. Driven in the air towards center. Back goes Davis. That ball is off the wall. Horton pulling towards second. The throw is onto the infield and backed up by the catcher Labrador. Braden Horton just missed a go-ahead home run. 343 feet off the wall in center. The go-ahead run at second with 2 outs of the 8th. And the batter is Brian Padilla. 2 for 3, a run batted in, 2 runs scored, 1 walk. In the clutch, with 2 outs of the go-ahead run on second base of the 8th. Can the Yukon guy from Brooklyn get the job done? He takes outside, 1-0. Held on at second is Horton by the second baseman Talavera. The hole is through the right side of the infield. Ball 2 down low, and you don't want to walk Padilla because guess who's on deck for the SwampBats? It's Devin Taylor, who has 4 RBIs today. Padilla will be looking for a pitch to hit on 2-0. Castelluccio deals. Swinging a fly ball to shallow center. Coming in is Davis. He makes a catch. And the side is retired. No runs on 1 hit off the wall. No errors and a man left. We go to the 9th, tied at 9. This is the NECBL on ESPN+. What a game tonight, Kyle DeSantis. 9-9, a game that's already over 3 hours old. We enter the 9th inning. William Cook, Daniel Labrador, Anthony Steele due up. 4, 5, and 6 for the Danbury Westerners. They are tied at 9 with the Keene SwampBats. And a big game to how the stretch run of the regular season as both teams fight for an NECBL playoff spot. Sullivan to Cook, the first pitch in for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game you necessarily can't make up. It's 18 runs on 16 hits. Still
9 runs on 5 hits for Danbury, 9 runs on 11 hits for Keene. 0-2 on Cook after the foul ball. Cook walked and scored in the first, struck out in the third, RBI single in the 5th, ground out in the 6th. He's 1 for 3. If we look ahead to the bottom of the 9th, it'll be 3, 4, and 5. 3 power bats to the SwampBats order. Taylor, Delamelier, and Garrett Rice. Sullivan has thrown 2 to third. Giving up 1 run. The homer to Matt Ruiz to tie the game with 2 outs of the 8th. But it's been a good outing for Sullivan. He struck out 4, walked just 1. One-two pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him with a slider. A give up by Cook. 1 out. 5th strikeout for Sullivan. It brings up Labrador. 2-run single in the first for Labrador. He struck out, grounded into a double play, and grounded out since. 1 out of 4 on the day. 2 home runs on the season for the Stetson catcher, Daniel Labrador. Strike one. Kyle, if you were wondering, the Steeple Cats did not come back against the Vermont Mountaineers. Final score, 18-1 Vermont. So this is the last game in progress tonight in the NECBL. 0-1. Outside.
For North Adams now.
Oof.
7-26 on the summer. Sometimes there's teams you got to feel for in baseball.
There sure are. North Adams this year is one of them. Swing and a miss. Strike two. Sullivan trying to give the SwampBats a chance to walk it off in the bottom half. A ball and 2 strikes on Labrador. The pitch. Lifted in the air, right field. Not deep enough. Taylor on the track. 2 outs. Next will be Anthony Steele, who is 1 for 4. He struck out 3 times. The other time he hit the ball 415 feet. So here's Steele, the all-star closer, the two-way player. Big cut and a miss, 0-1. Steele, the 6th hitter for Danbury. His homer and the 6th with his 3rd of the season. On 0-1. He takes down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. If Danbury loses this game, they'll fall into a tie with North Shore for the last playoff spot. If the SwampBats lose this game, they'd be 5.5 out, 9 games left. The stakes are that high for both teams.
That tie with North Shore as well. Even more muddied up by the fact that they split the season series 1 game each.
And that is the first tiebreaker of the NECBL for the playoffs. Grounder to the right side. Brian Padilla throws out Steele. First 1-2-3 inning for the SwampBats. This game couldn't have come at a better time. Nothing across against Tommy Sullivan at the top of the 9th. The SwampBats could try and walk it off next. This is the NECBL on ESPN+.
Watch me do my thing. I said, watch me do my shake, shake. Woo! Watch me do my thing. I said, watch me do my shake, shake.
At Keene State College, life is an adventure. You'll forge your path forward. As an owl, you'll take on challenges in the classroom, field, court, or track. Every worthwhile adventure has its share of blood, sweat, and tears. It takes hard work and dedication. No owl flies alone on their journey at Keene State. Teammates, coaches, professors, alumni, and fellow owls are with you along the way. They lift you up as you continue forward. When you're part of Owl Nation, you become the person you truly want to be.
Your next Ford is waiting at Monadnock Ford. Right now, get a great offer like this on your next new Ford. See these offers and more at monadnockford.com. Monadnock Ford, home of the low price tire guarantee, and your local Ford and used car retailer. Voted Keene's best.
Nine. Going to the of the 9th. Andrew Castelluccio against Devin Taylor. And Taylor sends this one toward right. It is caught by Claiborne, 1 out. That'll bring up Blake Delamelier. 1 pitch and 1 out for Castelluccio in the bottom of the 9th. That will bring up Blake Delamelier. Another home run threat. 6 out of the year for Blake. He's 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs in this game. First pitch, breaking ball on the inner third, 0-1. SwampBats have won on a walk-off 1 time this season. It was a walk-off walk. Right field, Claiborne, 2 outs. That'll bring up Garrett Rice. He is 1 for 4. If it goes to the 10th in the NECBL, we do have the runner on second rule, the Manfred man, in extra innings. In effect in the NECBL, we also only play a maximum of 2 extra innings, or else a game is ended in a tie. Garrett Rice, another power bat, swings and misses. Rice has 4 homers this season. He's 1 for 4 today. He's been a clutch hitter for the SwampBats all season long. Returner from 2022. That's outside from Castelluccio, 1-1. If we go to the 10th, Anthony Steele would be the Westerners' runner. They'd have Hayden Miller, Bam Talavera, and Jacoby Davis due up. That's 7, 8, and 9. Ball at 2 strikes here on Garrett Rice in the bottom of the 9th. The wind to the pitch. Swung on and missed strike 3. Rice will force the throw to first to complete the strikeout. It's a 1-2-3, bottom of the 9th for Castelluccio. On our way to the 10th, 9-9 the score. This is the NECBL on ESPN+.
Extra innings at Alumni Field. The NECBL on ESPN+, a 9-9 game between Danbury and Keene. Kyle DeSantis alongside Jonah White on the call. And the runner on second. It's a man who some of the Westerners players in the dugouts were joking in his debut. So if it's anything, it's but that. Joey Scarrett, the runner on second, replacing Anthony Steele, at least for the time being. We'll see what happens, especially in the 10th when it comes to the fielding arrangements. When it comes to Scarrett, second-year Westerner from Sacred Heart, it's not played in a game in the month of July.
What a time to make his July debut as a potential go-ahead run at second base. He's not your typical pinch runner either in extra innings. He's a catcher.
Indeed he is. Probably, if I could say so in a way that doesn't count, rather doesn't sound interesting, one of, if not the fastest of the 4 catchers on the Westerners roster. Well, at the plate, Hayden Miller, welcome back. Bam Talavera and Jacoby Davis, the 3 due up. Miller, bunt pulled back, strike.
Tommy Sullivan has been so good for the SwampBats. 3 1/3 innings, he's allowed just 1 run. Back out here for the 10th with not many guys available behind him.
Extra innings on ESPN+. Pitch. Misses.
And,
Scared goes to third. No throw attempt by the catcher in Owen.
A stolen base, a huge stolen base there.
That's a catcher, by the way, doing that running. 0-1, no outs.
Infield in now for the SwampBats all the way around.
Pitch. Tapped foul right back to the catcher, Owen. Miller behind 0-2.
We'll put it in the air here. SwampBats have some good arms out there in the outfield. Taylor Smith and Delamelier can all throw. I'd say the best of the bunch, probably Devin Taylor in right field.
Look towards third. 0-2 pitch. Missing outside. Ball and 2 strikes. It's extra innings for Danbury, who felt like they've been in extras now for their last 2. Yesterday went down to the wire as well. 1-2. Tipped back foul and play called by Alan Libardoni. Scared was already about a third, if not a half of the way down the baseline before having to retreat back.
For a moment, I wasn't sure if that ball was tipped. Would have been trouble for the SwampBats.
That was what some people did think. Pitch. Grounder. Chopper. Off of the glove of the third baseman, Mercedes. Scared skippers. He scores. 10-9.
Well, now if you're the SwampBats, you got to be focused on not allowing another runner to score. Because you know you'll have that free runner in the bottom of the 10th as well.
That was a tough hop as well. And again, now Danbury leading 10-9. You can't really blame Mercedes for that one. Did what he could on the high chopper.
No, it scored a hit as it should be.
Talavera, hitless, now steps in.
Got to try and keep Miller from scoring.
Bunt shown, pulls back as it's upstairs.
Bottom of the 10th, Garrett Rice will be the free runner for the SwampBats. Jackson Owen, Tony Livermore, and Jordan Smith will be due up.
Right now, here in the top of the 10th, though. Next pitch. Bunt again. Dips down. 2 balls, no strikes. Westerners have played in extras before, 2-1 so far this summer. 2-0 pitch. Bunt gets down in front of the catcher in Owens. Has to throw to first, and they will get the speedy Talavera by 2 steps. Moving on to second is Hayden Miller. 1 out.
Second successful sacrifice of the game for Talavera. And now Davis, who's 0 for 3 with a walk.
Davis now, big moment for the hitting coach, Bobby Rodriguez. Giving him some words of encouragement. Davis on the night, 0 for 3, a run scored because he reached on a walk, though he struck out twice. Happening in the 4th and 8th innings. An insurance run on second in the form of Miller.
A big insurance run because of that free runner rule.
Davis taking his time now, settles in. Look to second, throw. Swing and a miss out in front of the big breaking ball, 0-1.
Let me give Tommy Sullivan a ton of credit here. Battling the 10th inning, he came in with 2 outs to the 6th.
Seems like eons ago, we were just there. Top of the 10th, 0-1. Throw. Foul. This is a game, at least well over 3, nearing 3.5 hours.
Danbury's held leads of 3-1 and 8-7. Actually, 3-0 and 8-7. The SwampBats have held leads of 4-3, 7-4, and 9-8.
Pitch. Swing and a miss. Davis whiffs by for the second out.
6th strikeout for Tommy Sullivan in 4 great innings of relief. It would be very hard done by if he winds up being the losing pitcher today.
Jason Claiborne at the plate. Works with the runner at second. Still Hayden Miller brought back the lead to Danbury after the infield single. First pitch to the lefty, low and inside. Great stop there by the catcher Owen for ball 1. Miller very speedy as well on the base paths. He's also scored tonight. Every Westerner hitter has reached base in this one. Chopper right back and off the hand of the pitcher. No throw to first. As it was off of Sullivan, Livermore had to readjust and come in. Claiborne able to work with the speed. Runners on the corners for a man by the name of Matt Ruiz.
Well, Ruiz is a big part of this game. A home run to tie it. Now a chance to give Danbury some big insurance here. I think that play would have been made if it didn't go off the hand of Sullivan there. Hunter Cooley, the pitching coach, will go out and talk with his pitcher. It's an infield hit, though, for Claiborne. Miller going to third.
Now both runners in Claiborne and Miller in this huddle will now make it 5. It's Miller, Claiborne, the runners, Ruiz, the hitter, the hitting coach, and Bobby Rodriguez talking situational tactics alongside Westerners manager and Connor Farrell. Well, it looked like Rodriguez was doing most of the talking, at least explaining the situation. Farrell's giving the final words of wisdom.
Ruiz 1 for 5. Strikeout, ground out, reshot an error and scored at the 5th. Strikeout, and then that 357-foot game-tying home run off Sullivan with 2 outs to the 8th.
The mound. Sorry to cut you off there, Jonah, but the mound meeting has adjourned, as has the offensive meeting in front of the Westerners dugout.
Bottom of the 10th, Jackson Owen is 0 for 4. Tony Livermore's 0 for 4. Jordan Smith is 1 for 4. That's who's due up for the SwampBats.
Pitch to second. Ball bounces away from Owen in front. No throw as Claiborne is at second. Great stop there from Owen. If that goes by, everything would break loose.
It is a huge run at third base in Miller that the SwampBats cannot afford to let score here in the top of the 10th.
Second and third now, 2 outs. Matt Ruiz at the plate in a 10-9 ball game. Look towards second. Sullivan's offering. Grounder left side, picked by the shortstop, and thrown onto first in time as Livermore goes to Horton. The Westerners get a run back on 2 hits. They end up stranding 2 runners left on base. See what the SwampBats had in the bottom of the 10th here. They trail by 1 on ESPN+.
Bottom of the 10th inning at Alumni Field in Keene. The sky now pitch dark. We've played well over 3 hours. And the SwampBats trail 10-9 entering the bottom of the 10th. They've got a free runner at second base. That is Garrett Rice. The batter is Jackson Owen, who has flied out 4 times, 1 in foul territory. In at first base is the new first baseman Luke Boynton in case Owen lays down a bunt. See if he does. And stepping off instead is Castelluccio. So you're going to sacrifice bunt here, Kyle. You're playing for the tie. You're playing to go to the 11th inning.
11th, the last extra inning as well in the NECBL.
I wouldn't be shocked here if Owen is going to string away, but Boynton way in at first in case he wants to lay one down. He does not square. It takes a big rip at a breaking ball and comes up empty. It's 0-1. Owen committed to Mississippi State next year. He's a Mississippi native from Starkville. Very hard worker. All the coaches love him. Does he have a special moment here? That is low and blocked. 1-1.
The Danbury dugout giving Daniel Labrador, or D-Lab, the acronym at least, that he's been given. Words of encouragement, keeping that in front, not panicking.
A lot of pressure on him right now with the tying run at second at the 10th. 1-1 to Owen. There's a strike, and it's 1-2. 85 on the outside corner from Castelluccio. Pitched a scoreless 8th and a scoreless 9th. Chance to be the winning pitcher here for Andrew Castelluccio. The 1-2 pitch. Raking ball swung on it, missed, strike 3. Second strikeout for Castelluccio. Rice still at second base, and the batter is Tony Livermore, the All-Star. Livermore grounded to the pitcher in the second, grounded into a double play in the fourth, flying to center in the sixth, then flying to left in the seventh. He's 0 for 4. Rice held on by the shortstop, Ruiz. Livermore takes ball 1. Tony has 7 RBIs this season. He does not have a home run. Jordan Smith next. And then Christian Mercedes if it comes to it. Sounded in. 2 balls and no strikes on Livermore. Livermore, the potential winning run. Oftentimes you think first base open, it's okay to walk him. Not really here, Kyle. You want to put the winning run on base at the 10th.
Especially in this current deficit the SwampBats are in.
The 2-0. Oh, he went around, according to the third base umpire, James Segala. Pitch below the strike zone, and it's 2-1. Livermore looking to tie the game with a base hit there. Didn't get the pitch he was expecting from Castelluccio. Two-1. Strike. 2-2. He's not blowing anybody away with velocity here, Castelluccio. Sits in the lower 80s with the fastball. But he's been effective so far this game. 2 outs away from his first pitching win of the season. The 2-2. Grounded to first. Backhand stab by Boynton. And Livermore is out. Moving up to third base is Garrett Rice. And the last chance for the SwampBats is Jordan Smith. Smith struck out swinging in the third, single to the center field wall in the fifth, struck out in the sixth, grounded to the pitcher in the eighth. He's 1 for 4. He has 1 home run on the season, but he does have home run power. Tying run at third with the bats down to their last out. First pitch. Raking ball swung out and missed. Chipped it to the mid of Labrador. 74-mile-an-hour slider from Castelluccio, and it's 0-1. Rice 90 feet away at third base. Here's a line drive. Base hit going into center field. Jordan Smith ties the game. Oh, how clutch is that? Smith with his 4th ribby of the season makes it 10-10 in the 10th. And he's aboard at first as the potential winning run for Christian Mercedes. Mercedes at his first start as a SwampBat. There goes Smith. No throw down to second base, and the winning run's in scoring position. The fastest man on the team is Smith. And Mercedes is looking for his first hit as a SwampBat. If he gets that hit, it would probably send the fans home happy. The 0-1. Grounder to the left side, picked up by Miller. The throw to first in time, and the side is retired. In the 10th for the SwampBats. 1 run on 1 clutch hit by Jordan Smith. No errors and a man left. 10-10 after 10. This is the NECBL on ESPN+.
The scoreboard in right center field is blank in the innings. That doesn't mean that this game is over. That just means that we've gone to the 11th here at Alumni Field on ESPN+. Kyle DeSantis and Jonah White All night long here, Danbury and Keene battle back and forth. They're tied at 10 here, and at the 11th, Matthew Rowe gets the
Rowe, right-hander out of Rutgers, 6'1", 195, a junior from Metuchen, New Jersey. 9 innings out of the season. He's walked 11 and struck out 11. No record, an ERA of 8. His last start, though, his last appearance, though, was very good. 2 scoreless, 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts at a loss to the Vermont Mountaineers last Friday. He comes in for Sullivan, who was just terrific. 4 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. He deserved a win. He'll get a no decision at Rowe's the 5th SwampBats pitcher of the game here in the 11th and final inning.
Harrison Feinberg will come to the plate in this massive turn of events. The runner at second, Matt Ruiz, and he has to go back to second after the new pitcher in Rowe steps off the mound.
Kyle, got to keep in mind here that this game can end in a tie. It will not go to the 12th inning per NECBL regular season rules.
11 is it. Zings by, fastball, strike 1. Feinberg hitless in 3 times, though he has reached base twice on 2 walks, and he has scored once. Ruiz has already scored twice and already had 6 at-bats in this one. As Feinberg taps it foul, though Ruiz, at this point, there's a good chance of not coming to the plate again. That would not be a new record, tying, as of now, the most at-bats by a Westerner in a game this summer with 6.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely he'll come up again. SwampBats would hope he doesn't come up again.
Feinberg at the plate. Pitcher looks to first in row. 2. Doan gets away. Ruiz heading to third. No throw as the Panther slides in safely.
Well, that's something Matt Rowe has had an issue with all season, is a wild pitch. That is the 9th wild pitch he's thrown, and he has to hope he doesn't throw a 10th.
90 feet away from giving Danbury the lead once again. This back-and-forth affair from Alumni Field. It's Matt Ruiz. 1-2 pitch to Feinberg. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The runner is 90 feet away. Feinberg goes down swinging.
SwampBats will keep the infield in now with 1 out for William Cook, who's 1 for 4 with a walk.
Cook, a lefty with some power out of Louisville. A single, his lone hit. He's also walked and struck out twice. Ruiz still at third. Pitch. Ball 1. Downstairs.
Kyle, I'll tell you right now, a tie would be a better result for Danbury than it would be for Keene. It would keep the Westerners in a playoff spot. They might not be thrilled with the result. Who is when it's a tie? But it would not be a good result for the SwampBats given their position in the standings and needing to make up ground against the Westerners.
New count 2-0, and if anything, they'd just be joining the same club that both Bristol and Valley are in with ties in their record. Bristol with 3, Valley with 1.
Nobody wants a tie.
Segala, the third base, or rather infield umpire on the left side, will move in as they intentionally walk Will Cook to put the runners on the corners and give the double play.
Well, that's very interesting.
Flip switch.
Very, very interesting decision there by McKenna. Sean McKenna, the head coach for the SwampBats, and it brings up Labrador, who's 1 for 5 with a single way back in the first to play 2 runs.
That single, again, seems like yesterday. Runners on the corners. First pitch to the catcher. Outside, stopped there by Owen. Good job, Owen. That one, I should say. It's now a ball, no strikes. Labrador's lone hit. That 2 RBI single in the first. He also has struck out. 1-0. Line drive, left field, moving back. And over his head is Mercedes. Ruiz scores. Labrador will go to second. He gets in there standing. Cook to third. RBI double. 11-10 Danbury.
Well, the intentional walk comes back to hurt the SwampBats. A big double off the bat of Labrador. Cook advancing to third. And now the SwampBats really can't allow another run, with Boynton coming up for the first time today.
Boynton, someone, again with the pot, I should say the pop in his bat. Second and third, one out here in the top of the 11th. Danbury working now. First pitch bouncing by Owen. Coming in to score is Cook.
I warned you about the wild pitch being a potential issue for Matt Rowe. There it is again. And a big insurance run for Danbury to take a 12-10 lead.
Also, Labrador moves to third. A second insurance run for the Westerners, now leading 12-10.
SwampBats will still keep the infields in here.
12 runs on 8 hits. 3 errors for the Westerners. They have a runner 90 feet away. That would put it 13 with Luke Boynton at the plate. SwampBats infield in. 1-0. Big cut and a miss. 1-1.
An intentional walk quickly coming back to bite the SwampBats.
It was Cook who was intentionally walked. Came in to score and give Danbury their second insurance run. 1-1. Fouled back. 1-2.
So the SwampBats will need at least 2 runs to tie and 3 runs to win in the bottom of the 11th. They will have the top of their order due up. Horton, Padilla, and Taylor, with Mercedes due to be the free runner.
Ball and a strike to Luke Boynton, 1 out. Runner at third. Cy. And the pitch. Grounder back up the middle. Won't be played. Up between Livermore and Padilla to center. Coming in to score, Daniel Labrador. An RBI single by Luke Boynton. It's 13-10.
Big hit for Boynton. And now 2 insurance runs for Danbury. They've scored 3 here in the top of the 11th.
Scored 1 in the 10th. The SwampBats responded. They now lead by 3 after scoring 3 in the 11th. Hayden Miller back in at the box. Boynton at first, still 1 out. Look to first from the pitcher in row. Pitch. Away from Owen. Boynton will jog to second.
Wait, the jog there. Boynton. It's already the 3rd wild pitch of this inning.
3rd wild pitch of this inning and an eventful one.
Rowe throws hard. He sits 90-91 with that fastball. But he can be wild as Evan Goforth, position player, goes down to warm up in the SwampBats bullpen.
Runner at second in the form of Boynton after the wild pitch. Look towards second and the firing. Chopper left side, stays in fair territory. Gloved by Mercedes. Across the diamond, Miller will get there as the ball bounced out of Horton's glove.
Yeah, we'll see what they score that. It's a hit. Infield's hit for Miller. After the strikeout by Feinberg, an intentional walk, a double, and 2 singles. Still just 1 out. With the runners now at first and second.
For Bam Talavera, a man who, quite frankly, has a lot that he wants to get off in this one. 0 for 2, though, with a walk and 2 strikeouts, though. The at-bats haven't necessarily been pretty as he takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Talavera, one of the newer additions to Danbury, activated 8 days ago on July 11th, rather. I lose track of which month. 1-0. Outside, though, called a strike to even the count. Talavera was with Albany, the Dutchman in the Perfect Game League in New York for the beginning of the summer in the month of June. 1-1. Fouls back, 1-2. Transfer from Hudson Valley Community College going to D2 from the JUCO level. Southern Connecticut State is going to be an Owl. Played JUCO ball under former Westerners manager Josh Pirro. First and second, 1-2, 1 away. Towards second. Dealing. Swing and a miss. Talavera goes down on strikes for the second out.
The SwampBats are still in this game. You just need one base runner in addition to the free runner in the bottom of the 11th to bring the tying run to bat. And you've got power bats coming up in the lineup. You can get this third out here with no further damage. You're very much in the game as you go to the bottom of the 11th for the SwampBats.
Jacoby Davis is the man between that. Lefty hitter. First pitch. Swing and a miss once more from the big red outfielder, 0-1. Davis 0 for 4 with a trio of Ks. A walk and a run scored in this one. First and second, 0-1. Outside. Picked there by Owen before it comes to the backstop. 1-1. Davis, a Florida man born and raised. The Ivy League education with the big red. 1-1 inside. 2 balls and a strike.
You sure you want to phrase it like that?
I don't know. Florida man. I didn't know how to.
He's from Florida.
He's from Florida. Florida man has a kind of negative connotation online. Just say that to say the least. 2-1. Called strike. Deuce is wild. Shake of the head from Davis. Settles back in. Left hand, the Bruce Bolt batting glove at top of the big red cap. Rose 2-2. Fouled. 2 hour left. Just when you think this game can't get any crazier, that's the closest foul ball all night.
That's the closest foul ball to coming into the press box, Kyle, all season. There's a little hole in the net cut out for the camera. Oh, man, that one almost snuck in here.
Would have been a...
It's going to take that away from Steve, our producer here.
2-2.
Don't even think about it, Steve.
Fouls back. Glad to be here for this one. 23 runs, 22 hits. Almost one camera.
Chaos.
It's NECBL baseball.
It's been a really entertaining game that's got a chance to reach the 4-hour mark.
2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Davis goes down swinging, but the Westerners, they bring in 3 runs on 3 hits and strand 2 men on the base paths. Bottom of the 11th coming up here. NECBL on ESPN+.
Kyle DeSantis and Jonah White as we get ready for the bottom of the 11th inning. Final half inning of this game, no matter what happens. SwampBats score 2 or less. Danbury wins it. And goes back to a full game ahead of their nearest rival for the last playoff spot. 3 runs, and it's a tie. 4 of the SwampBats win it. Braden Horton loops a foul ball down the right field line, 0-1. Andrew Castelluccio has a chance to be the winning pitcher. He's pitched 3 innings, allowing just an unearned run so far. The free runner that scored in the 10th inning on Jordan Smith's clutch single with the SwampBats down to the last out. But the SwampBats are going to need some more clutch hitting here. First, they need a base runner down by 3. The runner at second to the bottom of the 11th. It's Mercedes, the runner. Pop up. Left side, foul ground. That is going to go out of play. 0-2 on Braden Horton. Castelluccio has thrown 36 pitches through 3 innings. Figure he's still got plenty left in the tank. Matt Rowe pitched the top of the 11th, an inning, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 1 intentional walk, and 3 strikeouts. That intentional walk turned out to really hurt the SwampBats at the top of the 11th inning as William Cook came around to score. SwampBats need a base runner. Horton won't be that. He strikes out swinging to start the 11th. 13 runs on 10 hits for the Westerners. 10 runs on 12 hits for the SwampBats. As the third strikeout there for Castelluccio. Here's Padilla, who's had a very good day. Fouls a pitch off there, 0-1. Brian Padilla, 2 for 4, 2 singles, 2 runs scored, 1 RBI. Flied out his last time up. He gets on base, it would bring up Devin Taylor as a potential tying run. But Castelluccio's been living in the strike zone. 40 pitches, 31 strikes so far. Ball high, 1-1. Danbury with 3 runs at the top of the 11th to take a 13-10 lead in what's been a crazy game as the scoreboard indicates. The 1-1. Caught out and missed. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on Padilla. Kyle, if you remember last week, Danbury took the lead in the bottom of the 6th, and the SwampBats struck out 3 times in a row in the 7th for Danbury to seal the game. Castelluccio looking for something similar here. A 1-2 to Padilla. Strike 3 call. Alan Libardoni rung him up on an 85-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the strike zone. It means Devin Taylor comes to the plate as the potential final out, but not as the potential tying run. Taylor just needs to get on base here. He is 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs. Can he keep the line moving for Blake Delamelier? Castelluccio sets. The first pitch. Down with a breaking ball, and it's 1-0. Blake Delamelier is the tying run. He's 2 for 5. He has 6 home runs on the year, and he waits on deck. The All-Star Taylor at the plate now, trying to keep the line moving. Big swing and a miss at a slider. 1-1. Other NECBL teams probably rooting for the SwampBats in this game. North Shore, Ocean State. Martha's Vineyard. Also Valley and Bristol. All pulling for SwampBats comeback here in the bottom of the 11th inning. 2 balls and a strike on Devin Taylor, the Big Ten's Freshman of the Year. High fly ball is shattered. Davis on the track. It's going to be caught by Feinberg to end the ball game. A 1-2-3 11th for Andrew Castelluccio, and he is a winning pitcher. In the 11th, no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. The Westerners win it 13-10, Carlos Santos.
In a game that's back and forth all night, took the Westerners 4 runs in the extra innings. But they come out on top.
Castelluccio will be the winning pitcher. He finishes with 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, an unearned run. He didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 4. With 3 runs at the top of the 11th, the Danbury Westerners beat the Keene SwampBats today by a final score of 13-10. Westerners improved to 18-18. The SwampBats dropped to 12-23. They've lost their 5th straight game. Kyle, would you recap it for us?
Well, it's for the Westerners at least in a big stretch, and this actually wraps up the rest of that big stretch, at least for the time being. When it comes to the future, at least for Danbury, again, the wild card race is still up in the air. They're still in the hunt for it, and they will face another team working their way and trying to get into the wild card race in Ocean State on Friday. They have tomorrow off. They will also host Bristol on Saturday before Sunday's NECBL All-Star game.
SwampBats have games coming up. They will be at home against Bristol tomorrow as we get ready to give you the final totals here from this game. a game that did not quite reach the 4-hour mark. It was actually 3 hours and about 57 minutes. So now it's time for the final totals from Alumni Field. For the Danbury Westerners, 13 runs on 10 hits, 3 errors, and 10 men left on base. For the Keene SwampBats, 10 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors, and 7 men left on base. The winning pitcher, Andrew Castelluccio. He improves to 1-1. And the losing pitcher, Matt Rowe, he drops to 0-1. Attendance, 1,025. Time of the game, 3 hours and 57 minutes. Our executive producer is PJ Moynihan. Bringing this one to all of you at home. PJ with digitalized film. Graphics is Ryan Hurd. Director is Stephen Pierce. My partner is Kyle DeSantis. This broadcast is copyrighted the New England Collegiate Baseball League. And I'm Jonah White saying so long from Alumni Field tonight. As the Westerners beat the SwampBats 13-10, this has been the NECBL on ESPN+.